Chapter 2301. There's no such thing as a free lunch as the master of the boundary. The heavenly dragon used the secret methods of the dragon clan to observe the entire boundary. For 30 years, everything Lin Moyu did was seen by the heavenly dragon. He personally witnessed the growth of the bone hell, from 0.3 light years to 1 light year, and also saw the bone hell reach a bottleneck. Lin Moyu returned to the heavenly dragon. Senior, what are your instructions? The heavenly dragon said, use that technique of yours on me. Lin Moyu was taken aback. Senior, what do you intend to do? The heavenly dragon seemed a bit impatient. I just want to experience it, can't I? Just do it, stop with the nonsense. Lin Moyu chuckled. All right, please prepare yourself. Prepare for what? Just do it. It's just a technique at the Bian level. Do you think it can hurt me? The heavenly dragon shouted, completely unconcerned. Lin Moyu laughed lightly, and the bone hell flew out, enveloping the heavenly dragon. Countless hellish spirits pounced on the heavenly dragon, biting him. 10 fireballs like blazing suns sprayed countless hellish flames, which also fell on the heavenly dragon, burning fiercely. The heavenly dragon's body emitted a faint light, and a dragon's roar could be faintly heard. Each dragon's scale burst with powerful energy, forming a defense against the hellish spirits. The hellish spirits bit through everything, breaking the heavenly dragon's defense piece by piece. However, the heavenly dragon was a supreme, and his defense was very strong, on a completely different level. The hellish spirits found it very difficult to bite through, but the most shocking thing was that they could actually bite through. Given enough time, the hellish spirits could break through the heavenly dragon's defense and truly harm him. To think that a technique at the Bian level could break through a supreme's defense was unimaginable. The heavenly dragon's eyes also showed surprise. Seeing the bone hell and experiencing it firsthand were very different. He tried weakening his defense in one spot, allowing the hellish spirits to bite directly. The defense of the dragon scales was even stronger. Even other supremes would find it difficult to break through. But after the hellish spirits bit more than a dozen times, a crack appeared on the surface of the dragon scales. The heavenly dragon's eyes widened, as if to say, even this can be broken. Indeed, his supreme level dragon scales were forcibly bitten through by the hellish spirits at the Bian level. A little more biting, and they would definitely break. It wasn't just the hellish spirits. The heavenly dragon also felt the power of the hellish flames. His defense couldn't completely block the hellish flames, which seeped in and began to burn him. However, their effect wasn't as strong as the hellish spirits. At this moment, the hell flower bloomed, emitting waves of blue light. Under the light, the heavenly dragon felt his power decrease by 30%. His defense weakened significantly, and the hellish spirits bit even more eagerly. Enough. The heavenly dragon called a halt, and Lin Moyu immediately withdrew the bone hell. Before Lin Moyu could speak, the heavenly dragon said, "Don't say anything yet, let me think." Lin Moyu remained silent, watching the heavenly dragon close his eyes in thought, unsure of what he was contemplating. The heavenly dragon muttered to himself while thinking, "Your technique is very strange. Even I have never seen such laws." Lin Moyu chuckled inwardly. Of course, it was strange. The bone hell was formed by merging 4 techniques, then combining the power of void and reality, and finally integrating into the real world. The technique had become a self-contained system, detached from his own realm. If this technique weren't strange, that would be truly strange. The heavenly dragon said, "Your technique is no longer related to your realm. It needs to ascend on its own. To make it ascend, quantity alone is not enough, quality is also needed. I think if you can make it devour a supreme's rule world or a source of primordial power, it might ascend." Lin Moyu thought the bone hell might need a source of primordial power. The rule world of a supreme contained primordial power, so they were essentially the same. The heavenly dragon's words were almost meaningless. Primordial power was hard to find, and a supreme's rule world was equally hard to find. Even if found, would they let themselves devour it? Lin Moyu thought to himself, I should have kept more world crystals. Perhaps they could make the bone hell ascend. Maybe I should look for other remnants of rule worlds and gather more world crystals. Thinking this, he said, I know, but whether it's primordial power or a complete rule world, they are not easy to find. I plan to try my luck in the outer domain and see if I can find primordial power. The effects should be similar. The heavenly dragon laughed, "You don't have it, but that doesn't mean I don't." Lin Moyu's eyes lit up. "Senior, you mean?" The heavenly dragon laughed, spitting out a piece of primordial crystal. Instantly, rich primordial power spread through the starry sky. Lin Moyu's eyes sparkled. What are your conditions? Just say it. There's no such thing as a free lunch, and Lin Moyu knew the Heavenly Dragon must have conditions for doing this. The Heavenly Dragon was somewhat dissatisfied. I like to trade, but not everything needs to be a trade. I find you pleasing and trustworthy, so I'm willing to give you this primordial crystal. Of course, if you find my dragon pearl in the outer domain, remember to bring it back. Lin Moyu understood the Heavenly Dragon's meaning. Their previous agreement was 1 dragon pearl for 1 favor. The 3 dragon pearls had already been exchanged for 3 favors. Now the Heavenly Dragon was essentially advancing his reward. Of course, the Heavenly Dragon wouldn't make a loss. If Lin Moyu couldn't find the 4th dragon pearl, he shouldn't expect the Heavenly Dragon's help when the battle realm arrived. The Heavenly Dragon was doing this to encourage Lin Moyu to search for the dragon pearl in the outer domain. Lin Moyu was curious. Why don't you go to the outer domain yourself? No one here should be able to restrict you. The Heavenly Dragon glanced at Lin Moyu. Why didn't Antares search for the dragon pearl himself? The small world isn't that big. Lin Moyu was slightly shocked. Yes, the small world wasn't big, and Antares could traverse it with a single thought. Why didn't he search for the dragon pearl himself and instead relied on Lin Moyu? Clearly, there were many restrictions. The Heavenly Dragon was sent here as punishment and was similarly restricted. Lin Moyu made a promise. Rest assured, I will do my best to find the dragon pearl in the outer domain. The Heavenly Dragon laughed. Good boy, I hope we can cooperate as pleasantly as before. The primordial crystal flew into Lin Moyu's hand. This piece of primordial crystal contained extremely rich primordial power, much stronger than world crystals. Even 10 world crystals combined couldn't compare to it. Only the primordial crystal from the sea monster could match it. If compared to a Supreme's rule world, only the rule worlds of peak Supremes could contain such strong primordial power. It should be enough for the bone hell to ascend. Lin Moyu's heart stirred, and he integrated the primordial crystal into the bone hell. The bone hell roared and shook, the flames in the hell river soaring, connecting with the 10 blazing sun-like fireballs in the sky. The fireballs burned fiercely, rapidly growing larger, and the hell river became more intense. The bone hell, which had already reached 1 light year in diameter, began to expand again. The Heavenly Dragon's voice echoed in his ear, change direction, don't touch me. Chapter 2302, 2302. Chapter 2302, do you have another choice? The bone hell continued to grow larger and stronger, its coverage expanding more and more. Lin Moyu could feel the bone hell undergoing a transformation, another qualitative change. Inside the bone hell, the gate of hell appeared once again, the gap in the door opening a bit wider, releasing immense power into the bone hell. The Heavenly Dragon's eyes narrowed sharply. The gate of hell, how is this possible? Upon hearing this, Lin Moyu immediately asked, Senior, have you seen the gate of hell before? The Heavenly Dragon shook his head. I've seen it in the records of my clan. He had never seen it with his own eyes, only in the recorded materials. Just from the records, he could recognize the gate of hell at a glance, indicating how unique it was. Lin Moyu continued to ask, is the gate of hell very special? The Heavenly Dragon's large eyes turned, looking at Lin Moyu. That's classified information of my clan, I've only seen it once. In other words, he couldn't disclose it. Lin Moyu didn't press further. The Heavenly Dragon sometimes let things slip, but those were trivial matters. He would never let slip anything truly important. However, just from his reaction, it was clear that the gate of hell was very special. Both fell silent again, but the Heavenly Dragon kept staring at the bone hell, his gaze extremely serious. Lin Moyu, on the other hand, was observing the Heavenly Dragon's reaction. Although he didn't speak, much could be inferred from his reactions. His expression is so serious clearly, my technique is extraordinary. The extraordinary aspect should be the gate of hell. The gate of hell is not from the great world but from beyond it, from the Sea of Realms. Lin Moyu's mind was clear, instantly understanding many things. Moments later, the gate of hell disappeared, and the bone hell absorbed enough power, beginning to undergo new changes internally. The hellfire river flowed, and the number of hellish spirits started to increase dramatically. The hellflower bloomed more brilliantly, the 10 suns in the sky burned more fiercely with hellfire. From any angle, the bone hell was extremely perfect. If the bone hell were considered a rule world, it would be an absurdly strong one, at least a perfect level rule world. The Heavenly Dragon looked at Lin Moyu with a complex gaze, finally sighing and revealing some information to him. The heavenly dragon's voice was low. Legend has it that somewhere, there is a terrifying world called Hell, where everyone goes after they die. It's a forbidden zone for living beings no living creature can enter. Some say it's the origin of everything and the final destination of all beings. It has the yellow springs that traverse ancient and modern times, the 9 netherworlds that govern life and death, the enchanting rebirth flowers, and the 10 hells of purgatory. With each sentence, Lin Moyu's heart skipped a beat. What he described was eerily similar to his bone hell. Combining this with the description of his technique, could the real hell connected by his technique be the one the heavenly dragon mentioned? But he also wondered, didn't the heavenly dragon say he couldn't tell him? Why was he now speaking voluntarily? The heavenly dragon continued, what I just said isn't from my clan's records but is a well-known legend. If you ever get there, you can ask anyone and they'll know. Your technique is indeed special, summoning the gate of hell. I can sense that this technique has infinite possibilities. How far you can go depends on you. Lin Moyu seemed to see a broader, grander world and couldn't help but ask, what is that place really like? The heavenly dragon chuckled, don't try to trick me into talking. If you want to know, see for yourself. You already have a ticket. Once you reach the supreme level, you'll be eligible to go there. But don't get your hopes up, it's just eligibility. The heavenly dragon suddenly changed the subject, this world is about to end, and you don't have much time left. But you have a dragon soul crystal, so you won't die when this world ends. Don't think the dragon soul crystal is just for refining soul power. As a treasure of my clan, its uses go beyond that. You still have a choice, but those without a dragon soul crystal can only consider themselves unlucky. The heavenly dragon had a gloating look, but Lin Moyu was very serious. Lin Moyu said earnestly, thank you for your guidance, senior. I believe the great world will not end. I will build a new divine path to restore the great world. I will also become the supreme of the great world, even a heavenly sovereign. The heavenly dragon laughed heartily, it's good to have ambition. I hope you can achieve it. If you truly become a heavenly sovereign one day, remember to help me find all the dragon pearls. Lin Moyu smiled, I will. Even if I don't become a heavenly sovereign, I will help you find the dragon pearls. The heavenly dragon laughed even louder, clearly in a good mood. The bone hell finally completed its ascension, its diameter reaching 2 light years, its range expanding several times. The hellish spirits collectively reached the saint sovereign level, numbering in the trillions. A trillion saint sovereigns, what a concept. Even a supreme would be terrified. Even in ancient times, during the peak of the human race, they couldn't produce a trillion saint sovereigns. In the current era, the number of saint sovereigns was in the single digits, but Lin Moyu had a trillion. Who could believe such a disparity? Another trump card. Lin Moyu thought to himself. When the battle realm arrives, no matter how many they send, anyone below a supreme will only become nourishment for the bone hell. Lin Moyu bid farewell to the heavenly dragon and headed to the outer domain. He was going to the fragmented destruction ruins to see if he could find the remains of the mighty heavenly sovereign. Even if he couldn't get the remains of a heavenly sovereign, he hoped to find the corpse of a peak supreme. In the battle between the two realms, the decisive factor would ultimately be the top-tier powerhouses. The outer domain was still silent. The direction Lin Moyu was heading was once one of the main battlefields against the Black Blood Great World. Countless indescribable battles had taken place there, with many human powerhouses shedding their blood. The Black Blood Great World also lost countless powerhouses there. This battlefield no longer had a name in the sparse records, it was known that the battlefield was led by the mighty heavenly sovereign. At that time, the human star domain was vast. The current outer domain was once part of the inner domain. The outbreak point of the Great War was actually at the edge of the human star domain. During the war, the human star domain suffered great losses. Every human powerhouse stood their ground, firmly keeping the Black Blood Great World's army at bay. If not for the later rebellion of various races, the Black Blood Great World's army would never have broken through. Space twisted, and Lin Moyu appeared in the void. It wasn't dark here, there was quite a bit of starlight. Upon closer inspection, the starlight came from shattered stars. After the stars were shattered, the fragments continued to burn, not extinguishing even after 1,000,000 years. Under the illumination of the light, traces of past battles could still be seen. Lin Moyu could even smell the scent of blood and hear the shouts of warriors fighting to kill the enemy. The souls and wills here lingered for a long time, not completely dissipating even after 1,000,000 years. One could imagine how fierce the battles were back then. Lin Moyu walked step by step across the battlefield, heading towards the fragmented destruction ruins. The fragmented destruction ruins were not large, about the size of an ordinary star system, with a diameter of only 100 billion kilometers, but it was very dangerous. A human saint sovereign had once died here. That human saint sovereign hadn't even entered the ruins, he was merely brushed by the ruins from 1,000,000 kilometers away, and his body and soul shattered instantly, turning to dust. The ruins were named after this event. Chapter 2303, 2303. Chapter 2303, The World of the Heavenly Sovereign, How Dare You? The fragmented destruction ruins are as vast as a star system, yet their appearance is indescribable. They resemble a bubble, floating in the starry sky, constantly rotating around the battlefield, and continuously changing their form. Although they have the ability to leave the battlefield, they have never done so. For countless years, they have been flying around the battlefield, like soldiers on patrol, inspecting a specific area. Lin Moyu sensed an inexplicable will from the fragmented destruction ruins. It was this will that kept the ruins from leaving for countless years. Although he felt the undying will, he couldn't determine its origin. He didn't know if this will belonged to the mighty heavenly sovereign or a peak supreme. Following the trajectory of the fragmented destruction ruins, Lin Moyu gradually approached. A saint sovereign once died 1,000,000 kilometers away from the ruins. According to witnesses, the saint sovereign suddenly exploded, his body turning to dust, completely obliterated. The dust was then absorbed into the ruins and disappeared without a trace. Not even a single hair was left. With this precedent, Lin Moyu naturally proceeded with caution. He approached the ruins, and at 2,000,000 kilometers, he was safe, feeling no threat from the ruins. At 1.5 million kilometers, there was still no danger. His soul did not send any warnings, and everything seemed normal. 1.4 million, 1.3 million, 1.1 million. Even at 1.01 million kilometers, he still felt no danger. Lin Moyu enveloped himself with the power of time and space, and on the outermost layer, he also used the bone hell. With 3 layers of defense, the bone hell, the power of time and space, and the undying golden body, Lin Moyu finally approached the fragmented destruction ruins. As soon as he stepped into the 1,000,000 kilometers range, not even an extra meter, his soul suddenly sent a frantic warning. The next second, a massive force struck Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu felt as if he had been hit by a heavy punch, but it wasn't a normal punch. He didn't feel any impact force, only an explosive power that erupted directly outside his body. He wasn't pushed back, but the bone hell was instantly shattered. The power of time and space couldn't protect him, and it was directly pierced by this force. Next was the undying golden body, which also couldn't withstand this force and was instantly destroyed. The 3 layers of defense didn't last even 0.01 seconds before being shattered. Lin Moyu's body, like that of the Saint Sovereign back then, exploded into pieces. In the next moment, the ruins generated a suction force, directly absorbing Lin Moyu's shattered body. The suction force crossed space, spanning 1,000,000 kilometers almost instantly. The starry sky became quiet, with no trace of Lin Moyu's existence. Far away in the human divine city star domain, Xiaowu suddenly exclaimed, "Master has disappeared." In that instant, she lost contact with Lin Moyu. Xiao Niu curiously said, "I didn't feel anything." The next second, Xiaowu was stunned again. Master is back." Xiao Niu was puzzled. "I still didn't feel anything." Xiaowu patted Xiao Niu's head. Niu is too dumb, of course, you didn't feel it." Xiao Niu snorted, "Nonsense." At this moment, Xiaowu clasped her hands together, and the star river of luck appeared. "May Master be safe and sound, and everything go smoothly." The star river of luck moved, and an invisible force flew into the distance, crossing infinite space in an instant, entering the fragmented destruction ruins. In the sky of the ruins, countless vortices appeared. In one of the vortices, a purple light flashed, and then a person flew out of the vortex. Lin Moyu landed on the ground and quickly took out a piece of clothing to put on. At this moment, he was still in shock. All his methods had been useless. At the moment of the attack, Lin Moyu vaguely saw a fist. It was this fist that directly killed him. It was also this fist that shattered all his proud methods and the confidence he had built over a long time. This fist made him realize the vast gap between himself and the owner of the ruins. He had faced supremes, the 4 primordial divine beasts, and the sea monsters, but he had never felt so weak. But now, he truly felt weak. In front of this fist, he was nothing. Without his rebirth talent, he would have died. Is this what they call, one force subdues 10 techniques? No matter how many methods you have, I can break them with one punch. Teacher Bai once said, a big fist is the hard truth, and it's absolutely true. A peak supreme might be able to throw such a punch when alive, but definitely not after death. It seems I've found the right place. This is indeed the ruins formed after the mighty heavenly sovereign's death. The rule world of the mighty heavenly sovereign hasn't shattered, at least not completely. After so many years, who knows what it has evolved into? Lin Moyu carefully sensed and found that this place indeed resembled a rule world, but he couldn't be completely sure. The method to verify was simple. Lin Moyu opened his palm, and the fire of world destruction appeared. The fire of world destruction exploded in the air, sweeping through the entire ruins. Even the ruins left by a heavenly sovereign might not withstand the refining of the fire of world destruction. How dare you! A loud shout echoed in the sky, and countless vortices in the sky suddenly turned into fists, raining down like a storm. Lin Moyu's whole body tensed. He was locked in place by an invisible force, unable to move. All laws and rules lost their effect at this moment, and he could only watch as the fists fell on him. Boom! His body exploded again, shattered by countless fists. As Lin Moyu died, the fire of world destruction instantly disappeared, and the sky returned to calm. 2 seconds later, accompanied by a flash of purple light, Lin Moyu was resurrected again. I died again. I've died twice already. Lin Moyu was still in shock. The rule world of a heavenly sovereign was truly dangerous. One wrong move could cost him his life. The fire of world destruction couldn't refine this rule world. The will of the mighty heavenly sovereign still lingered, and there might even be remnants of his soul. If the mighty heavenly sovereign's soul remained, combined with the rule world, it would possess terrifying power. No wonder even a peak supreme might not be able to leave unscathed. The rule world of a heavenly sovereign is indeed terrifying. Since I'm here, I might as well take a good look. Fear won't help. Since I'm already here, I should explore thoroughly. Let me see what the rule world of a heavenly sovereign is like. It will serve as a reference for my future. Lin Moyu adjusted his mindset and reorganized his emotions. After waiting for a while, until his rebirth talent cooled down, he activated his soul eye. He first looked around. This world seemed desolate, with a wasteland of broken stones and nothing else. However, this was the world of a heavenly sovereign, so there might be something to discover. After scanning with his soul eye, he found nothing. Lin Moyu then looked at the sky and immediately made a discovery. In the sky, countless vortices existed. In the core of each vortex, there was a fist. These are the fist imprints left by the mighty heavenly sovereign. Lin Moyu's heart trembled. The fists in the vortices were not real fists but imprints. Suddenly, his soul sent a warning, and a loud shout came from the sky. How dare you! Countless fists rained down like a storm, and without any suspense, Lin Moyu was smashed into pieces again. Chapter 2304, 2304. Chapter 2304, is this practicing boxing? Dead again. Lin Moyu resurrected from the flesh pulp, once again taking out a piece of clothing to put on. How long has it been, and he's already died 3 times. The heavenly sovereign's rule world is extremely dangerous. One careless move and you die. No wonder no one can obtain the heavenly sovereign's remains. Ordinary people would have died long ago. Fortunately, with the rebirth talent, Lin Moyu did nothing before the rebirth talent's cooldown ended, not even taking a step forward. Afraid that one wrong step would get him killed again. 20 seconds later, the rebirth talent was back to normal, and Lin Moyu finally moved. He didn't use the soul eye but instead looked around with his ordinary vision, checking the surroundings and the sky vortices. Nothing happened. The first rule: do not use the soul eye to peek. Lin Moyu understood the first restriction in the rule world: the soul eye's peeking ability violates the rules here. Lin Moyu had a thought, and a skeleton general flew out, randomly choosing a direction to fly. He used his old method, using the skeleton general to scout the way. This method had always worked in the past, exploring any secret realm or dungeon clearly. The skeleton general had just flown 1,000 meters when his soul suddenly issued a warning. Here it comes again. The vortices in the sky once again transformed into giant fists, falling like raindrops. The target was not just the skeleton general but the entire area, including where Lin Moyu stood. Lin Moyu was once again immobilized, bound by an invisible force, unable to move. Under the fists, everything was pulverized, and Lin Moyu was killed for the 4th time. 2 seconds later, with a flash of purple light, Lin Moyu resurrected again. Dead 4 times. Lin Moyu was a bit frustrated. He hadn't done anything since entering and had already died 4 times. The ruins are so large, how many times would he have to die to get through? Unconvinced, Lin Moyu sent out another skeleton general. This time, it didn't fly but walked on the ground. The skeleton general moved slowly, stepping on the broken stones, making crunching sounds. It walked very carefully, exerting light force, not even breaking a single stone. Lin Moyu was afraid that breaking stones would trigger another attack. The vortices in the sky were not to be trifled with. After walking 100 meters, nothing seemed to happen. Could it be that you can only walk here? Just as this thought arose, his soul suddenly issued a warning. The same fists as before fell densely. Lin Moyu silently counted, 5th time. He faced death calmly and resurrected in the purple light, feeling refreshed. Despite dying 5 times, he wasn't discouraged and even felt a strange satisfaction. It had been a long time since he had died so frequently. Continuous deaths reminded him of the crazy actions he and Antares took in the small world to refine their techniques. Can't fly, can't walk, so what's the second restriction? Even in the Heavenly Sovereign's rule world, there must be operational rules. These rules may be chaotic but always follow certain patterns. If I can find the pattern, I can leave here. Lin Moyu glanced at the vortices in the sky. With no other options, he could only try bit by bit. At worst, he would die hundreds or thousands of times. He believed he would eventually figure it out. Suddenly, a clear energy entered his mind, and Lin Moyu faintly heard a dragon's roar. Luck transformed into a dragon. Lin Moyu felt strange he hadn't used the explosive luck technique, so why did his luck suddenly increase? Then he thought of Xiao Wu, so it's Xiao Wu enhancing my luck. With enhanced luck, his soul became clear, and a flash of inspiration hit him, suggesting a possibility. If I can't move, then I won't move. Let's see if anything changes when I stay still. Don't rush, I'll figure it out. Lin Moyu realized he might have been too hasty before. He calmed down and observed his surroundings again. The vast, desolate land was barren, with nothing but broken stones and soil. Lin Moyu's mind raced, constantly thinking, why would the Heavenly Sovereign's rule world evolve into such a land? Is there a purpose? This rule world still has remnants of a soul, indicating it's not randomly evolved. It might even be that this land existed before the Heavenly Sovereign died. Lin Moyu began to speculate on the mighty Heavenly Sovereign's mindset. Constructing such a place in his rule world must have a purpose. Suddenly, Lin Moyu noticed a change in the land. The world seemed to darken as if the sun was setting and night was falling. Then, a faint glow rose from the ground, barely visible. But Lin Moyu clearly caught the glow. The glow danced in the night sky for about a minute before sinking back into the ground and disappearing. A few seconds later, not far from where it disappeared, another glow emerged and started dancing again. Lin Moyu watched the glow closely. Each appearance lasted exactly 1 minute, not a second more or less. After a minute, it would move to another spot and continue dancing. Each dance had a different rhythm, as if expressing different meanings. Lin Moyu stared at the glow without blinking until it sank into the ground for the 35th time and did not reappear. The world brightened again as if the sun had risen, bringing light. Lin Moyu frowned. It danced 36 times. What does the glow represent? The key to leaving here should be in the glow, but what does it mean? Lin Moyu pondered but couldn't figure it out. With no hints, understanding the glow's meaning from just a bit of light was too difficult. Lin Moyu didn't give up. He was convinced the glow was the only clue to breaking the predicament, so he couldn't give up. If he couldn't solve this, he would be trapped here forever, with no way out. Night fell again, and the glow reappeared, starting to dance. No, it's different. Lin Moyu suddenly realized that today's glow was different from yesterday's. The position of the glow hadn't changed, it was still in the same place, but the dance trajectory had changed. The trajectory of the glow has changed, this is also a clue. Lin Moyu immediately recorded today's glow trajectory, not missing any details. It still danced 36 times, in the same positions as yesterday, with only the dance trajectory changing. In his soul world, the glow also appeared. Originally, there were 36 groups of glow, each in a different area, with its own dance trajectory. Now, another 36 groups of glow joined, pairing up to form 36 groups. Each glow had its own trajectory, never colliding with another. Don't rush. As long as there are clues, the root cause can be found. On the third day, new glow appeared again, still in the same place, with the dance trajectory changing once more. Lin Moyu diligently recorded the glow's trajectory and simulated it in his soul. On the fourth day, the fifth day, the 10th day, for 10 days, the glow appeared on time, always in the same place, with 36 groups each time. Only the dance trajectory changed each time. In Lin Moyu's mind, 36 groups of glow appeared, each group consisting of 10 light points. Although the 10 light points seemed scattered, they were much more detailed than before. They kept dancing, never stopping. Lin Moyu observed carefully and finally noticed something. Is this practicing boxing? Chapter 2305, 2305. Chapter 2305. Following the path of the mighty heavenly sovereign through the trajectory of the glowing lights, Lin Moyu vaguely recognized that this was a set of boxing techniques. However, due to the limited number of glowing points, he couldn't yet discern the true form of the boxing techniques. If it really was a boxing technique, it would involve the movement of the entire body. Even the simplest boxing techniques couldn't be fully described by just 10 glowing points. For more advanced boxing techniques, it might involve the circulation of muscles and blood vessels, as well as the coordination of laws and soul power, making it even more complex. Not to mention 10 glowing points, even 100 or 1,000 might not be enough to describe it clearly. Lin Moyu could only be patient and continue watching. As time passed day by day, the number of glowing points increased daily, and Lin Moyu saw more clearly. He hadn't been mistaken, it was indeed practicing boxing. After 30 days, Lin Moyu watched as 30 glowing points danced continuously. He used his soul power to simulate a shell, enveloping the glowing points and sketching lines to form a human shape. Finally, he saw the complete boxing technique. The boxing technique was simple, consisting of 36 moves, not complicated at all. A heavenly sovereign, using such a simple boxing technique. Even at the transcendent realm, this boxing technique wouldn't be considered impressive. If this boxing technique is meant for beginners, then it makes sense. Lin Moyu suddenly thought of a possibility, clenched his fists, and said, I understand. This is the path the mighty heavenly sovereign took in his early cultivation, practicing this boxing technique from the start. Too much time had passed, making it difficult to trace back. Over 2 million years, too much had happened. The cultivation methods of ancient times were very different from those of today. Lin Moyu only knew that in ancient times, people also emphasized physical cultivation, unlike today, where the focus was more on the soul and less on the body. Lin Moyu tried practicing the boxing technique and found that it indeed had a body-strengthening effect. However, for him, the effect was minimal. But as an introductory technique, it was quite good. This boxing technique is a good body-strengthening method before reaching the true God realm. The human race lacks body-strengthening techniques, their physical bodies are passively enhanced. If I bring this boxing technique back, it could strengthen the foundation of the human race. The boxing technique wasn't difficult, and Lin Moyu mastered it completely in no time. Night fell again, marking Lin Moyu's 31st day in the fragmented destruction ruins. When the glowing points appeared, Lin Moyu leapt onto them, stepping on the broken stones and practicing the boxing technique along with the glowing points. The boxing moves were slow, and Lin Moyu paid attention to the rhythm, maintaining the same speed as the glowing points. After finishing in one spot, Lin Moyu followed the boxing momentum, sidestepping to the second spot. Then the third, the fourth. Lin Moyu followed the path of the mighty heavenly sovereign, practicing the 36 boxing moves without suffering any harm. After completing the last move, the vortices in the sky suddenly changed, projecting beams of light. Countless human figures appeared on the ground, continuously practicing boxing on the broken stones, over and over again. Each figure was identical, practicing the same boxing technique, only in different positions and areas. But without exception, all were barefoot on the broken stones. Even if their feet were worn out, they didn't stop. Lin Moyu fully understood, this is the early cultivation experience of the mighty heavenly sovereign. This boxing technique was his introductory technique, and it might be the most deeply ingrained in his memory. After his death, his residual soul subconsciously evolved this area. Everything became clear to Lin Moyu. The projections changed, and all the human figures eventually gathered together, forming a large door. In front of the door stood a human figure with a bowed head. The figure was the mighty heavenly sovereign. Lin Moyu looked at this scene and murmured, "Is this seeking a master in the Tao?" Lin Moyu heard a majestic voice, "If you want to enter my gate, use the body-strengthening boxing technique to break this door." The figure nodded, leapt up, and with great strength, punched the door, shattering it. The mighty heavenly sovereign rushed into the gate, seeking a master and the Tao. The scene shifted, and Lin Moyu saw that the door was still there. He knew what he had to do: follow in the footsteps of the mighty heavenly sovereign, break the door with a punch, and enter the next area. Lin Moyu also approached the door. He abandoned all his previous strength, even actively suppressing his physical strength. To follow in the footsteps of the mighty heavenly sovereign, he couldn't use any other power. At that time, the mighty heavenly sovereign was likely not at the transcendent realm, just an ordinary person. Lin Moyu also considered himself an ordinary person. The boxing technique played out in his mind, and the 36 moves eventually merged into one punch. This nameless body-strengthening boxing technique, when merged into one, erupted with considerable power. At least at the transcendent realm, possessing this power would be considered invincible. Lin Moyu punched, and the door rumbled but didn't shatter. Not breaking the door with one punch didn't disappoint Lin Moyu. From the previous experience, it was clear that the mighty heavenly sovereign had practiced for many years before fully unleashing the power of this punch. Lin Moyu had only practiced for a short time, so not breaking the door with one punch was normal. Lin Moyu continued to simulate the boxing technique in his soul world, practicing countless times in just a few minutes. Combining the previous projections, he corrected his shortcomings, perfecting the boxing technique. Finally, Lin Moyu punched again. This punch was much more powerful than before. As he punched, his entire body's blood and energy surged, emitting a dragon's roar. The punch, like a dragon, struck the door heavily. Countless cracks appeared on the door, and it shattered with a bang. Lin Moyu, like the mighty heavenly sovereign, rushed through the door, seeking a master and the Tao. The world changed, and beyond the door was another realm. In front of him was a grand path leading straight to the clouds. Above the clouds, mountains and palaces were faintly visible. The vortices in the sky finally disappeared, but Lin Moyu still didn't dare use the soul eye to peek. He knew that this world absolutely forbade peeking, or death would be certain. Never doubt the methods of a heavenly sovereign, they are on a different level, beyond resistance. This path to the heavens was once walked by the mighty heavenly sovereign. It seems I must walk it today as well. The path had tens of thousands of steps, leading straight to the clouds. The journey would not be smooth. Lin Moyu mentally prepared himself, ready to die a few more times. He stepped onto the path and walked towards the clouds. In an instant, he had walked nearly 1,000 steps without any incident. Until he stepped onto the 1,000th step, which was a circular platform about 100 meters in diameter. In the center of the platform appeared a human figure. Lin Moyu immediately recognized it as the mighty heavenly sovereign. The figure practiced boxing on the platform, the techniques not complex, just a few moves repeated. Lin Moyu recognized it as an upgraded version of the previous body strengthening boxing technique. It was still for body strengthening, but more effective. There was nothing too powerful about it, just body strengthening. In just 2 minutes, the boxing technique was completed, and a giant stone appeared in front of Lin Moyu, blocking his path. Lin Moyu knew he also needed to practice this boxing technique and break the stone to continue. The evolution of the real world recreated the path once walked by the mighty heavenly sovereign. Lin Moyu had to follow this path again. As for how long he had to walk, Lin Moyu didn't know. He had no other choice now. If he didn't follow this path, he wouldn't even think about obtaining the heavenly sovereign's remains. He would be trapped here forever. Chapter 2306, 2306. Chapter 2306. The life experience of the mighty heavenly sovereign. Following the boxing techniques of the mighty heavenly sovereign, Lin Moyu felt his entire body's energy and blood being mobilized by the techniques, with waves of power surging from his blood. Even at his physical realm, he could still feel some changes. However, these changes were very subtle and not enough to affect him significantly. Almost at the transcendent realm, Lin Moyu felt that on the grand path, the mighty heavenly sovereign had already reached the transcendent realm. Suppressing his own strength, he imitated the boxing techniques of the mighty heavenly sovereign, and with a punch, he shattered the giant stone blocking the path. Lin Moyu continued along the grand path, walking another 1,000 steps, and another platform appeared. The mighty heavenly sovereign continued practicing boxing, with the techniques becoming more refined and the power stronger than before. But overall, it was still a body-strengthening boxing technique, not some powerful spell. Lin Moyu memorized the boxing techniques and then practiced and analyzed them in his mind. Almost at the 7th level of the transcendent realm, The mighty heavenly sovereign was rapidly progressing, becoming stronger and stronger. Another giant stone blocked the path ahead. Lin Moyu knew what to do. He practiced the boxing techniques, fully comprehended them, and then shattered the giant stone with a punch. With his physical strength, practicing this set of boxing techniques was not difficult. After every 1,000 steps, a platform would appear, with the traces of the mighty heavenly sovereign's boxing practice and a giant stone blocking the path. Lin Moyu repeatedly imitated and shattered the stones. The further he walked, the stronger the mighty heavenly sovereign became. When he reached the 10,000th step, a platform with a diameter of a kilometer appeared. The mighty heavenly sovereign stood in the center of the platform, practicing boxing as if he had been doing so for countless years, day after day, year after year. Lin Moyu squinted his eyes, and the boxing techniques finally changed. From the beginning until now, the boxing techniques finally underwent a transformation. Although there were still traces of the body-strengthening techniques, the punches now contained wind and thunder, seemingly incorporating laws. At this point, the mighty heavenly sovereign's strength had already reached the divine sovereign realm. Normally, a certain law should have been perfected by now. But the mighty heavenly sovereign never displayed any laws. He achieved the divine sovereign realm purely through strength. Lin Moyu suddenly understood, the mighty heavenly sovereign follows the law of strength. The law of strength does not manifest outwardly, so it cannot be sensed. After reaching the divine sovereign realm, he used the law of strength as a foundation, incorporating other laws for his own use. The mighty heavenly sovereign's punches were filled with wind and thunder, which did not manifest outwardly but continuously entered his body, further refining it. The wind and thunder invoked by the boxing techniques were not for combat but solely for body refinement. From the very beginning, the mighty heavenly sovereign focused on body refinement, continuously refining his body. Lin Moyu did his best to memorize this, as it was a lost body strengthening technique, extremely important for the current human race. With this body strengthening technique, the foundation of the human race would become incredibly solid. He followed in the footsteps of the mighty heavenly sovereign, practicing the boxing techniques. Once, twice, 100 times. His energy and blood surged, wind and thunder enveloped him, and Lin Moyu felt his physical body becoming slightly stronger. Ancient body strengthening techniques are indeed extraordinary. Lin Moyu was amazed. His physical realm was already at the Bian realm, yet using the ancient divine sovereign realm boxing techniques could still enhance his physical body. The ancient body strengthening techniques indeed had their wonders. He practiced for a long time, finally mastering the set of body strengthening boxing techniques, and then shattered the giant stone with a punch, continuing forward. At this point, Lin Moyu felt he had gained immensely. Even if he couldn't obtain the remains of the heavenly sovereign in the end, bringing this body strengthening technique back would change the cultivation pattern of the human race. One could imagine that from then on, the human race would no longer have strong souls but weak bodies, allowing the soul and body to progress together. When the great world recovers and the divine path reappears, the human race might be able to regain its former glory. After 10,000 steps, the platforms no longer appeared every 1,000 steps but every 10,000 steps. When Lin Moyu reached the second 10,000th step platform, the boxing techniques of the mighty heavenly sovereign became even more profound, and his realm reached the peak of the divine sovereign realm. Every punch he threw could stir the clouds and shake the heavens and earth. Lin Moyu was excited, following the mighty heavenly sovereign's boxing practice, his energy and blood boiling, and his physical realm improving again. He eagerly anticipated the upcoming gains in the body strengthening techniques of the Bian realm. At the same time, he was curious about the mighty heavenly sovereign's subsequent cultivation path. Watching the mighty heavenly sovereign's cultivation journey, he understood how much effort the mighty heavenly sovereign put into his practice. Another 10,000th step platform appeared, and the grand path had already reached the clouds. On the platform, the mighty heavenly sovereign's energy and blood were like dragons, roaring. He had reached the Bian realm, with strength beyond measure. Lin Moyu felt that at this point, the mighty heavenly sovereign's physical strength was already enough to surpass his own. The mighty heavenly sovereign had demonstrated what it meant to conquer all with sheer strength. Any spells or treasures were shattered by his punches, powerful and unrestrained. With one punch, he could shatter the heavens and earth, clearing the clouds and revealing the sun. As the clouds dispersed, a majestic palace appeared in sight. The mighty heavenly sovereign roared and charged into the palace. The palace radiated a glow, filled with the images of the mighty heavenly sovereign. He continuously practiced boxing, thousands, tens of thousands, millions of times, countless times. His strength grew stronger, and his realm continuously improved. Bian, Saint Sovereign, Supreme, Peak Supreme. The great world runes appeared, descending with boundless primordial power, helping him achieve the heavenly sovereign realm. This is the cultivation path of the mighty heavenly sovereign. No great adventures, purely relying on boundless perseverance and diligence, he trained himself to become a heavenly sovereign. Lin Moyu realized that the mighty heavenly sovereign's talent wasn't particularly outstanding, at least not a genius. But he proved with his hard work that as long as one is determined, anything is possible. Lin Moyu tried to remember all the boxing techniques, especially those displayed by the mighty heavenly sovereign after entering the palace. He memorized as much as he could. These lost body strengthening techniques were extremely valuable for the current human race. The palace disappeared, and the scene changed. Lin Moyu found himself in the starry sky. The stars were dazzling, with a battlefield in front and the human star domain behind. A great battle erupted, and a giant figure appeared in the starry sky. Lin Moyu immediately recognized the giant as the mighty heavenly sovereign. The mighty heavenly sovereign faced endless enemies alone. He was larger than a star, and with one punch, the starry sky fell silent, countless enemies dying on the spot. But more enemies swarmed in, especially some extremely powerful ones, not much weaker than the mighty heavenly sovereign. The strongest of the Black Blood Great World led people to besiege the mighty heavenly sovereign. The mighty heavenly sovereign did not retreat, fighting fiercely. Behind him was the human star domain. He could not and would not retreat. He threw punch after punch, evolving the Star River, shattering rules, and unleashing immense power in the starry sky. The Black Blood Great World suffered countless casualties, and those strongest were severely injured by him. Unfortunately, the enemies were too many, and the mighty heavenly sovereign was eventually defeated. In his final moments, he transformed into a fist, creating a world of fists in the starry sky. That was his rule world, which engulfed all the enemies of the Black Blood Great World. The rule world roared in the starry sky for a long time. Eventually, some of the strongest from the Black Blood Great World broke out of the rule world and fled into the distance. The rule world continued to evolve, eventually becoming the fragmented destruction ruins we see today. Chapter 2307, 2307. Chapter 2307, The Fist of the Heavenly Sovereign, not used this way from the beginning of the mighty heavenly sovereign's cultivation to his eventual downfall. In truth, the life of the mighty heavenly sovereign was quite monotonous. During his cultivation, he continuously practiced boxing. Even after becoming a heavenly sovereign, he still practiced boxing every day. Boxing was the main theme of his entire life, occupying the vast majority of his time. Until the outbreak of the Great War, the mighty heavenly sovereign stood alone against thousands, standing before the human star domain, preventing the Black Blood Great World from advancing even an inch. To kill the mighty heavenly sovereign, the Black Blood Great World paid a huge price. The number of fallen powerhouses was uncountable, and even at the heavenly sovereign level, at least 5 were killed. A 1-for-5 exchange of this battle was not a loss for the mighty heavenly sovereign. In fact, the mighty heavenly sovereign could have retreated at that time. He didn't need to die in battle. With his strength, if he wanted to leave, the people of the Black Blood Great World couldn't stop him. But he couldn't retreat. Behind him was the human star domain. If he retreated, the casualties within the human star domain would be unimaginable. It seems the mighty heavenly sovereign had deep feelings for the human race. I wonder if the mighty heavenly sovereign had lived to the end, would he have left the great world like the other heavenly sovereigns to seek his own Tao? Lin Moyu couldn't help but sigh softly. This question was really hard to answer. The starry sky illusion disappeared, and Lin Moyu found himself still standing on the ground. There was no palace in the clouds, no grand path to the heavens. In front of him was a huge tombstone, towering 1,000,000 meters high. The top of the tombstone resembled a giant fist, as if it wanted to break through the sky. 4 large characters were engraved on the tombstone: Tomb of Iron Bull. Lin Moyu then realized that the mighty heavenly sovereign had a very rustic name, Iron Bull. His character was as straightforward as his name, steadfast and unyielding. Behind the tombstone, there was a coffin. The coffin was mostly obscured by the tombstone, making it hard to see. Suddenly, the tombstone emitted light, and a remnant soul flew out from the tombstone, standing in midair, looking at Lin Moyu. The remnant soul of the mighty heavenly sovereign still controlled this rule world after his death. The remnant soul transformed into the appearance of the mighty heavenly sovereign, staring expressionlessly at Lin Moyu. Intruders die. As the words fell, a giant fist condensed in the air, smashing down. Lin Moyu was startled and immediately flew back, dodging the giant fist. The giant fist grazed Lin Moyu's body and smashed into the ground, causing the earth to rumble and shatter. A terrifying force surged from the side, sending Lin Moyu flying, with countless blood flowers bursting from his body. However, this time he didn't die. His entire body was roaring with energy and blood, constantly emitting dragon roars. Lin Moyu was very surprised. I didn't die. He felt an inexplicable force growing within him, a force that blocked the punch just now. It's the boxing technique I practiced before, the boxing technique of the mighty heavenly sovereign. Lin Moyu suddenly realized that the boxing technique he practiced not only strengthened his body but also left some mysterious power in his body. This power was usually undetectable, but when severely injured, it would be activated and explode, blocking a fatal blow for him. As this power exploded, Lin Moyu suddenly felt another sensation. It seemed as if he had established some connection with this real world, as if he could mobilize part of its power. Suddenly, a soft voice came to his ears, "You didn't die." As the words fell, another punch came from the sky. Lin Moyu had been practicing boxing for a long time, and he instinctively swung his fist to meet the attack. His energy and blood surged like a dragon. This punch was not only an explosion of his own strength but also integrated the power accumulated from practicing boxing before. With this punch, Lin Moyu felt the power of the real world being drawn by him, exploding with his punch. Lin Moyu had an illusion, as if he and the mighty heavenly sovereign were jointly throwing this punch. Amidst the roaring, Lin Moyu was sent flying, but his eyes were incredibly bright. I really drew the power of the real world. Yes, I understand everything. The remnant soul only controls part of the real world's power, while the other part is controlled by the will of the mighty heavenly sovereign. The will is the cultivation path of the mighty heavenly sovereign, his Tao heart for protecting the human race. I walked the path of the mighty heavenly sovereign's cultivation and gained his recognition, allowing me to mobilize part of the real world's power. The remnant soul is not the mighty heavenly sovereign. If it were him, he wouldn't kill the human race. The mighty heavenly sovereign never retreated a step to protect the human race until his death. How could his will possibly kill the human race? Understanding everything, Lin Moyu looked at the remnant soul, his eyes shining. You are not him, and you are not worthy of being him. Lin Moyu transformed into a stream of light, charging at the remnant soul. Courting death, the remnant soul snorted coldly, and giant fists appeared above his head, controlling most of the real world's power. Lin Moyu was fearless, swinging his fist and also drawing the power of the real world. The two forces, originating from the same source but with different wills, collided violently. The entire ruins shook as if they were about to shatter. Lin Moyu was sent flying, his body exploding and nearly shattering on the spot. However, in the next second, the undying flame flowed, and the undying golden body healed all his injuries. Lin Moyu charged back again, facing the giant fists, throwing punch after punch, his strength growing stronger. He was practicing boxing, using the boxing techniques practiced by the mighty heavenly sovereign. After entering the palace and successfully seeking a master in the Tao, the mighty heavenly sovereign practiced many boxing techniques. Lin Moyu had memorized all these techniques and began using them now. From unfamiliar to proficient, punch after punch, becoming increasingly smooth. More power from the real world was drawn by him, and Lin Moyu's strength grew stronger. From initially being at a disadvantage, he gradually became evenly matched, and even began to surpass. The expressionless remnant soul now had killing intent in its eyes. How dare you? His power grew stronger, with fist shadows filling the sky, attacking from all directions. Lin Moyu became more excited, laughing heartily. You don't understand, you simply don't understand. The fist of the heavenly sovereign is not used this way. Lin Moyu's boxing techniques became increasingly fierce. With each punch, the entire ruins shook. The heavens and earth were torn apart by his punches, making a piercing tearing sound. Lin Moyu's punches grew heavier, completely suppressing the remnant soul. The remnant soul cried out in disbelief, "Impossible, I am the mighty heavenly sovereign, I am his soul, this world is mine." Lin Moyu laughed heartily. You are just a remnant soul, you don't understand his fist, and even less his will. The remnant soul roared, You are talking nonsense, you are talking nonsense. Lin Moyu laughed, whether it's nonsense, you know it yourself. I will make you give up. Lin Moyu's punches fell like rain, carrying the immense power of the rules, shattering the remnant soul's fists. Lin Moyu then punched the tombstone, and although it didn't shatter, the force was transmitted to the coffin behind it. The coffin suddenly roared, and a vortex appeared from the sky, enveloping the coffin like a tornado. Amidst the friction, the coffin slowly opened, emitting 10,000 rays of light, and the mighty heavenly sovereign appeared within the light. The remnant soul became even more frenzied. Impossible, you are already dead, this is impossible. The mighty heavenly sovereign stared at the remnant soul, a mere world spirit, daring to impersonate me, deserves death. The mighty heavenly sovereign threw a punch, and the terrifying power swept through the entire world, shattering the remnant soul amidst its screams. Chapter 2308, 2308. Chapter 2308. Tell my comrades, Iron Bull never retreated with a single punch, the remnant soul was shattered. The mighty heavenly sovereign pointed at Lin Moyu, and a ray of light fell upon him. Numerous images flashed before Lin Moyu's eyes, revealing everything to him. The mighty heavenly sovereign was not skilled in speech, so he used this method to convey his past to Lin Moyu. The mighty heavenly sovereign had long been dead. The coffin was empty, and the figure in the light was merely his will. Perhaps there was a trace of his remnant soul, but it was so faint that even Lin Moyu couldn't sense it. At that time, the mighty heavenly sovereign transformed himself into a fist, perishing together with the people of the Black Blood Great World, using his heavenly sovereign level rule world to absorb them all. Within the rule world, the final battle erupted. The rule world was the strongest means of a heavenly sovereign. Within it, the heavenly sovereign could unleash the most powerful force. The battle within the rule world nearly shattered it. Only 2 of the Black Blood Great World's powerhouses barely escaped, while the rest were all killed. The mighty heavenly sovereign died then, his body and soul nearly dissipated, leaving only his will. Part of his will scattered within the rule world, continuously replaying his path to seeking the Tao. Another part of his will replaced his bones, burying himself in the coffin. What Lin Moyu did within the rule world was akin to inheriting the will of the mighty heavenly sovereign, becoming his successor in a way. The remnant soul seen earlier was not the remnant soul of the mighty heavenly sovereign but the remnant soul of the world spirit within the rule world. A heavenly sovereign's rule world could create living beings, though not out of thin air but with the help of external objects. The mighty heavenly sovereign only practiced boxing and was lazy in other aspects. He casually created a living being to help manage the rule world, which became the world spirit. However, like the mighty heavenly sovereign, the world spirit was not good at managing the rule world. The mighty heavenly sovereign only practiced boxing and didn't care about it. In that great battle, the mighty heavenly sovereign died, and the world spirit was severely injured, leaving only a remnant soul. The remnant soul initially had no consciousness, but after many years of evolution, it regained consciousness. The newly born consciousness was incomplete and lacked much wisdom, but it could manipulate part of the power within the rule world. The entire ruins were primarily governed by the subconscious will of the mighty heavenly sovereign and managed by the remnant soul of the world spirit. The mighty heavenly sovereign said, "Thank you for awakening me. I didn't expect to find a successor before I completely dissipated. I couldn't protect the human race, I wasn't a qualified heavenly sovereign. But seeing you, I know the human race still exists. It's truly fortunate." Lin Moyu looked at the mighty heavenly sovereign, trying to appear relaxed. "Rest assured, the human race is doing well." He didn't tell the mighty heavenly sovereign about the hardships the human race had endured or the impending dangers the great world faced. The mighty heavenly sovereign was already gone. In his final moments, there was no need to make him worry further. The mighty heavenly sovereign said, "Your potential is greater than mine. You will surely become stronger than me in the future. I have nothing in this life, only this rule world to leave for the human race. But this rule world is already quite tattered." His words carried a hint of helplessness and a trace of unwillingness. The mighty heavenly sovereign had deep feelings for the human race. With a pure heart, he reached the position of heavenly sovereign. Lin Moyu felt the entire ruins glowing, filled with the will of the mighty heavenly sovereign. This was his world, and he had absolute control over it. The rule world shrank amidst the rumbling. Moments later, it became the size of a fist. At this moment, the will of the mighty heavenly sovereign was about to completely dissipate, marking his true death. The mighty heavenly sovereign said loudly, "I entrust this heavenly sovereign level material to you. I hope you can continue to fight with it, as if I were still on the battlefield. If you have the fortune to meet my comrades, tell them, Iron Bull never retreated." With these words, the mighty heavenly sovereign turned into dust, dissipating into the starry sky. The Rule World transformed into a fist-sized object, resembling iron. Lin Moyu sighed deeply, whispering, "Senior, farewell." The last words, "Iron Bull never retreated," were heart-wrenching. Indeed, he never retreated, not a single step, protecting the vast star domain behind him. A surge of anger welled up in Lin Moyu's heart. He said solemnly, "Rest assured, I will convey your message. And I will ask them what they were doing at that time, why they let you face it alone." The mighty heavenly sovereign was nothing like what Muniner had said, falling into the Black Blood Great World's trap due to carelessness. He single-handedly blocked the Black Blood Great World's army. Yet such a person was rumored to have fallen into a trap due to carelessness. Whether Muniner heard wrong or there were other reasons, Lin Moyu would find out if he ever met the other heavenly sovereigns. Holding the last relic of the mighty heavenly sovereign, Lin Moyu almost couldn't hold it due to its terrifying weight. A small, round material contained the entire rule world of a heavenly sovereign, making it incredibly heavy. Heavenly sovereign level materials were rare even in ancient times. It wasn't a world crystal. When the rule world transformed into material, Lin Moyu felt the primordial power. The mighty heavenly sovereign returned all the primordial power from his rule world to the great world, returning it to its origin. This was the true heavenly sovereign. Lin Moyu respected his actions and didn't stop him. After returning all the primordial power, the essence of the rule world condensed into this material. Its grade was higher than that of a rule god stone. If the human race had a heavenly sovereign level artifact refiner or a peak supreme level refiner, they could use this material to create an extremely powerful treasure. This treasure would carry the will of the mighty heavenly sovereign and fight for the great world once more. Unfortunately, the current human race had no supreme level artifact refiners, not even half-step supreme level ones. This material was destined to gather dust. Holding the material, Lin Moyu whispered, "Although the human race lacks a suitable refiner, I have a way to make you continue fighting. I hope my method won't disgrace you." Resolutely, Lin Moyu summoned a flame in his palm. A spell he hadn't used for many years was cast once more. White star level spell. Summon Elemental Lich. This spell hadn't been used for a long time due to the lack of suitable materials. Now, with the heavenly sovereign level material in hand and no suitable refiner, Lin Moyu could only think of his own spell. Transforming the material into an undying elemental lich, as long as he lived, the elemental lich would always exist. The material slowly melted in the flame, and Lin Moyu knew his idea was correct. It could be summoned. I wonder what kind of elemental lich will be summoned with heavenly sovereign level material. Based on past experience, it should at least be a supreme. Although I didn't obtain the heavenly sovereign's remains, I gained ancient body strengthening techniques and the boxing techniques of the mighty heavenly sovereign, which is already a great harvest. I will do my best, the rest is up to fate. Lin Moyu comforted himself and waited quietly. The high-grade material melted slowly, and Lin Moyu wasn't in a hurry. The flame burned for 10 days, finally melting the material completely. Terrifying power surged from the flame, and mysterious rules descended, falling into the flame. Chapter 2309. 2309. Chapter 2309. Divine Power Lich, Xiaowu becomes a saint sovereign. Lin Moyu seemed to see the runes of the great world. Previously, the will of the mighty heavenly sovereign had returned all the primordial power from his rule world to the great world. But now, his rule world had been summoned into an elemental lich, and the great world had sent back some of the primordial power. The existence of heavenly sovereigns and supremes is recognized by the great world, akin to being part of the family. Although not as favored as the 4 primordial divine beasts, they are still closer than ordinary people. Exchanging a bit of primordial power between them is quite normal. The elemental lich was gradually taking shape. With the addition of primordial power, the elemental lich became even stronger. There was no doubt it would be a peak supreme, and perhaps it could go even further. As for becoming a heavenly sovereign, Lin Moyu had never dared to hope. Based on past experience, the summoned elemental lich was always one level lower than the material itself. Using heavenly sovereign level material to summon a peak supreme elemental lich would already be extremely fortunate. Finally, an elemental lich appeared within the flames. He was burly, with a robust physique, standing 10 meters tall. Unlike other elemental liches, which appeared ethereal, he possessed an extremely tangible body, exuding explosive power. His upper body looked no different from a human, while his lower body was shrouded in flames, obscuring the details. After the elemental lich appeared, he knelt respectfully before Lin Moyu, who immediately received his information. Divine Power Lich Realm, Peak Supreme Grade, Perfect Growth Limit, None Spells, One Punch Breaks All Laws, Path of Strength. One Punch Breaks All Laws, a pure strength attack on the target, capable of breaking all laws, destroying rules, shattering souls, and nothing is unbreakable. Path of Strength invokes the power of the Great Path, enhancing oneself. Under the blessing of the Path of Strength, the next 3 punches will have their power increased by 10-fold, 100-fold, and 1,000-fold, respectively. After 3 punches, there is a cooldown period of 10 minutes, 100 minutes, and 1,000 minutes, respectively. Looking at the attributes of the Divine Power Lich, Lin Moyu murmured, as expected, it's a Peak Supreme, just as I thought. The grade has reached perfect, 1 level higher than high grade. As for the growth, forget it, it's probably hard to find corresponding materials, so let's leave it to fate. The spells are simple. One Punch Breaks All Laws is similar to the mighty Heavenly Sovereign's philosophy. But this Path of Strength is interesting. 3 punches, divided into 3 stages, each with different cooldown times. If only the first punch is used, then every 10 minutes, a punch with 10-fold attack power can be delivered. A Peak Supreme's 10-fold attack power is not quite at the Heavenly Sovereign level, but not far off. If the third punch is used, with 1,000-fold attack power, it might rival a Heavenly Sovereign. A Peak Supreme is the strongest among Supremes. In ancient times, they had another title, Half-Step Heavenly Sovereign. Those powerful Peak Supremes were not much weaker than Heavenly Sovereigns in terms of strength. The difference lay in certain techniques, rule worlds, souls, and other aspects. If the power is increased 1,000-fold, it can indeed compare with a Heavenly Sovereign. Lin Moyu looked at the Divine Power Lich, feeling that something was missing. After a moment of thought, Lin Moyu realized what it was. The Divine Power Lich was somewhat wooden, lacking wisdom. Although it could be commanded, it wasn't flexible. If it could possess wisdom and think independently, its combat power could be further enhanced. Wisdom, that's simple, come in. Lin Moyu opened his soul world, bringing the Divine Power Lich into it. On the world tree, 40 soul flowers were blooming, unused. The Divine Power Lich was enveloped by the soul flowers, beginning a second incubation. Watching the now vanished fragmented destruction ruins, with the mighty Heavenly Sovereign completely gone, Lin Moyu couldn't help but feel a sense of desolation. Even Heavenly Sovereigns have a day when they leave. Suddenly, he somewhat understood those who had left. No one wants to die. When they knew that staying in the great world meant waiting for death, how could those Heavenly Sovereigns be content? Each of them was a top genius of their time, born to pursue the great path. How could they possibly give up? Leaving became their inevitable choice, and also their only choice. Lin Moyu whispered, although I understand, I cannot agree. You can leave, but you shouldn't take the primordial power, further wounding the great world. Leaving is not your fault, but harming the great world is. Lin Moyu seemed to resonate with the great world. It was the great world that gave them primordial power and the position of Heavenly Sovereign. In the end, after the great world was wounded, they added salt to the wound, which was excessive. Lin Moyu took a deep breath. In the future, I will not only ask on behalf of the mighty Heavenly Sovereign what you are doing but also ask on behalf of the great world what you have done. Lin Moyu turned and disappeared into the darkness. There were still 2 ruins in the outer domain waiting for him to explore. Even if they didn't contain the remains of a Heavenly Sovereign, perhaps he could find the remains of a Peak Supreme. The strength of the battle realm was unknown, but having more power was always a good thing. The human star domain underwent significant changes. Huge space gates appeared in the starry sky, with the Starry Sky Fish clan bringing out their best resources to build numerous space gates for the human race. The space gates could teleport tens of thousands of light years instantly, faster than teleportation arrays and without the hassle of transfers. Building space gates was not easy, and the materials were hard to find. Even with the combined efforts of the 2 clans, only about 1,000 were built, distributed around the periphery of the human star domain. Once a great battle breaks out, support can be sent to any needed location immediately. Above the human divine city, a brilliant river of laws appeared. This river of laws had no grand momentum, only a hazy, illusory presence. After its appearance, the entire divine city became dreamlike. Countless people in the divine city looked up at the sky, at the river of laws enveloping the entire city. Their eyes were not filled with panic, only surprise. They had never seen such a vast river of laws. As for danger, there was certainly none. The human emperor network showed no signs of activity, so there was no problem. They didn't see that someone was sitting at the center of the river of laws. Behind Xiao Wu, an equally hazy world was taking shape. This world was filled with fantasy, containing countless strange elements. Many things from myths and legends appeared one by one in Xiao Wu's rule world. The rule world is the private domain of a saint sovereign. What exists in the rule world is entirely up to the saint sovereign. Xiao Wu's rule world was undoubtedly the most peculiar among all rule worlds. Xiao Wu herself didn't cultivate systematically like other saint sovereigns. She received the blessings left by two heavenly sovereigns, cultivated quickly, and was a spirit artifact turned human, with a childlike heart. Her rule world was magical and mysterious, containing everything, some of which even she couldn't explain. In front of the central hall of the divine city, Saint Sovereign Hao and Saint Sovereign Fu were drinking tea. Saint Sovereign Hao smiled. Xiao Wu has finally become a saint sovereign. I wonder if there's a chance for her to become a half-step supreme before the battle realm arrives. Both knew Xiao Wu's cultivation speed. What others couldn't achieve didn't mean Xiao Wu couldn't. Saint Sovereign Fu said, Xiao Wu has a chance, and so do you. But I don't, Saint Sovereign Hao replied. Thanks to the fruits given by Lin Moyu, my rule world has become stronger, giving me a chance. Half-step supreme may not be of much use, but it's better than nothing. All the saint sovereigns understood this. The world fruits given by Lin Moyu brought them hope, giving them a chance to glimpse the realm of half-step supreme. Amidst the rumbling, the central hall's doors, closed for 100 years, slowly opened. Chapter 2310, 2310. Chapter 2310. The structure of the battle realm, hundreds of supremes. The duration of the divine journey varies, sometimes as short as half a year, sometimes as long as several decades or even a century. Each divine journey's duration is unpredictable, even the heavenly sovereign himself cannot foresee it. This time, the heavenly sovereign's divine journey lasted over a century, and the experiences within must have been extremely rich. Saint Sovereign Hao and Saint Sovereign Fu exchanged glances and then walked into the central hall together. The heavenly sovereign sat with his eyes closed, organizing the information from this divine journey. The two were not in a hurry and waited quietly. The information gathered over a century was vast and could not be organized quickly. The two saint sovereigns were very patient, waiting for a full day before the heavenly sovereign finally opened his eyes. He exhaled a long breath, which turned into a thin mist, lingering in the central hall for a long time. The heavenly sovereign's voice was low, "Sorry to keep you waiting." Saint Sovereign Hao smiled, "It seems you have made some gains." Saint Sovereign Fu also asked, "Did you enter the battle realm again this time?" The heavenly sovereign nodded slowly, "Yes, I was fortunate enough to enter again." Xiao Wu's luck technique and Saint Sovereign Fu's rune guidance both played a role. Saint Sovereign Hao nodded, "Over 100 years, this time was long enough." "What did you gain?" The heavenly sovereign showed a hint of excitement. The gains were significant. "This time, I entered a large city in the battle realm, 1,000 times larger than the one I visited last time. And the person I chose was very special. Although he was just a C-division fighter, he had a special identity. He was the grandson of the city's lord, who was a star fighter. Because he had no cultivation talent, he was assigned to manage a library. Over the past century, he read many books, providing me with a wealth of information about the battle realm, far more than last time. Moreover, due to his special identity, he had access to a lot of information and knew about some ongoing events in the battle realm." Listening to the heavenly sovereign's description, both Saint Sovereign Hao and Saint Sovereign Fu became excited. This was a significant gain, and this information was extremely valuable to them. Light flickered in the central hall, and the human emperor and elder Xing appeared simultaneously, ready to listen to the heavenly sovereign's detailed account of the battle realm. The heavenly sovereign recounted all the information he had obtained in the battle realm, which the human emperor quickly recorded and organized. The structure of the battle realm is different from the great world. They have no multiple races, only the people of the battle realm. Although their race is singular, internal conflicts are not small. They also have multiple factions, each standing independently and fighting against each other. There are no stars in the battle realm, only continents. The strong build cities on the continents, each ruling their own territory. Resources in the battle realm are found on unclaimed continents, leading to fierce battles between factions for these resources. During this century, the family of the person the heavenly sovereign possessed controlled the Wei Star continent, which was at war with other continents. Several particularly fierce battles even saw star fighters take action. Star fighters are undoubtedly supremes, and there are quite a few of them. Thanks to the possessed person's management of a library and his love for reading, the Heavenly Sovereign obtained a large amount of information. There are 100 continents in the battle realm with starfighters. Each continent has many cities, and many cities have starfighters stationed. The number of continents without starfighters is even harder to count. Due to constant battles, the people of the battle realm are very warlike and have strong combat abilities. For smaller continents, starfighters are legendary figures, but for some powerful continents, starfighters are real and tangible. Unfortunately, even on the Waystar continent, no real information about the Battle Emperor was obtained, and it is still unclear whether the Battle Emperor truly exists. There are 100 continents with starfighters in the battle realm, with Waystar continent ranked 56th, considered mid-tier. It is said that the top 10 continents are the truly powerful ones, where the starfighters are stronger and more numerous than those on other continents. Perhaps only they know some of the more secretive matters. This divine journey not only revealed the structure of the battle realm but also uncovered something very important. The battle realm already knows about the existence of the Great World and is aware that in 1,000 years, the two worlds will collide. This information is currently only circulated among the starfighters, and the Heavenly Sovereign learned it by chance due to the special identity of the possessed person. After hearing the Heavenly Sovereign's description, Elder Xing said solemnly, given the warlike nature of the battle realm's people, who knows what they will think upon learning about the impending encounter with the Great World. The human emperor said, the Great World appears strong but is actually weak inside. If the battle realm truly has peak supremes, they might see through this. They might view the Great World as an opportunity, a chance for the battle realm to leap forward. According to Lin Moyu, the battle realm currently has no heavenly sovereigns. They need a significant opportunity to possibly give birth to a heavenly sovereign. Perhaps their battle emperor will see this collision as an opportunity. The human emperor's words implied the acknowledgement of the battle emperor's existence. Only by assuming the worst and preparing for it can one achieve better outcomes. The Heavenly Sovereign said, the battle realm has encountered other worlds before and has devoured several weaker worlds. Unlike the Great World, they slaughtered everything in the devoured worlds, leaving nothing behind. The battle realm is not only warlike but also very cruel, at least more so than the Great World once was. Elder Xing sneered, I think they did the right thing. The Great World once fell to this state because it was too kind. The human emperor said, I will organize the data later. We must prepare for the worst. Heavenly Sovereign, please elaborate on the information about the origin of the battle realm. The more comprehensive the information, the more accurate the human emperor's analysis will be. Saint Sovereign Hao said, I will inform you Chimay about the battle realm, so he can also prepare. The tone of the Heavenly Sovereign was somewhat heavy. From the information provided by the Heavenly Sovereign, just the presence of 100 Supremes was already overwhelming. In ancient times, 100 Saint Sovereigns were nothing, and a world like the battle realm could be destroyed with a wave of the hand. But now, the human race doesn't even have a single Supreme. Relying solely on themselves, they see no hope. Their only hope now is Lin Moyu. Not only did Saint Sovereign Hao think this way, but Saint Sovereign Fu also shared the same thought. Saint Sovereign Fu sighed, I wonder what Lin Moyu has gained. It's been 100 years since he went to the outer domain, and there's been no news. Saint Sovereign Hao said, Xiao Wu said Lin Moyu is not in danger, so he should be fine. Perhaps he is delayed by something. After all, the outer domain is vast, and encountering some matters is normal. With Lin Moyu's mastery of space and time laws, there's no need to worry. At this moment, the human emperor suddenly frowned and said solemnly, finally gone. Elder Xing, the only one who understood the human emperor's words, asked, are you sure? The human emperor nodded, I'm sure. Elder Xing said, it's good that they're gone. When Lin Moyu returns, remember to tell him. Their conversation was somewhat cryptic, and the other Saint Sovereigns didn't understand. But they didn't ask further, and the Saint Sovereigns didn't explain. Chapter 2311, 2311. Chapter 2311. The last relic disappeared. The flowing light relic, one of the 3 dangerous relics in the outer domain. Lin Moyu entered here 100 years ago and never came out. Inside, Lin Moyu experienced a dreamlike journey, and only after 100 years did he leave the relic. After Lin Moyu left, the relic turned into a stream of light, flew into the deep space of the outer domain, and disappeared. Lin Moyu let out a long sigh, his eyes showing a hint of disappointment. This relic was not left by a human supreme but by a starry sky beast that had cultivated to the peak supreme level. This starry sky beast had also participated in the ancient war, fighting to the death against the Black Blood Great World. Later, it was severely injured and fell into a deep sleep, using its rule world to envelop itself and drifting into the outer domain. During its slumber, its rule world naturally evolved, eventually forming the flowing light relic. This starry sky beast was named Starlight Beast, possessing a complete starlight law and part of the time law. Because of the time law, time left little mark on it, and the Starlight Beast lived until now. Lin Moyu's arrival awakened the Starlight Beast from its slumber, and it was relatively friendly towards Lin Moyu. Not because Lin Moyu was human, but because Lin Moyu also possessed the time law and starlight law. After Lin Moyu explained his purpose, the Starlight Beast refused him. Humans are humans, the Great World is the Great World, and the Starlight Beast is the Starlight Beast. As a citizen of the Great World, the Starlight Beast had once fought for the Great World and nearly died. That was enough. In its view, it had already settled its debt with the Great World. As for fighting for humans, that was even more impossible. After sleeping for 2 million years and now fully recovered, the Starlight Beast decided to leave the Great World and seek its own path. It had aspirations to become a heavenly sovereign. As for the primordial power given to it by the Great World, it intended to take that with it as well. The Starlight Beast's reasoning was sound. It had nearly died for the Great World, and it owed the Great World nothing. Lin Moyu couldn't stop it because he had no reason to. The Starlight Beast gave Lin Moyu something, saying it was a gift for someone who also mastered the time law and starlight law. Then it left without looking back. A peak supreme Starlight Beast already had the ability to break through the world's barriers and head to the Sea of Realms. Lin Moyu could only silently wish it good luck. Looking at the item in his hand, Lin Moyu murmured, "At least I gained something." Starlight Crystal, though not a primordial crystal, it is still the accumulation of the Starlight Beast over millions of years. During its recovery, the Starlight Beast used its starlight law and time law, adding a bit of primordial power, to condense the Starlight Crystal. In 2 million years, it only condensed 2 pieces. One of the Starlight Crystals was given to Lin Moyu, a generous gesture. Mainly because Lin Moyu had awakened it without him, it might have slept for many more years. If the Great World were destroyed, it might not have awakened in time and would have perished with the Great World. From another perspective, Lin Moyu had saved it. The Starlight Crystal had only one use. Because it contained a bit of primordial power, it could help a half-step Supreme ascend to the Supreme Realm. Because it hadn't traversed the divine path and wasn't recognized by the Great World, a Supreme who ascended using the Starlight Crystal would be the weakest among Supremes. They might even be weaker than some powerful half-step Supremes, but as a Supreme, their lifespan would double. In ancient times, some half-step Supremes with no hope of becoming true Supremes would use this method to extend their lives. The future can be dealt with in the future. Lin Moyu naturally wouldn't use this method to ascend to Supreme, he completely disdained it. Regardless, the Starlight Crystal was a good thing and counted as a gain from this trip. What Lin Moyu didn't expect was that time was chaotic within the flowing light relic. He felt he hadn't stayed long inside, but over 100 years had passed outside. Now, only 1,000 years remained until the Battle Realm's arrival. Considering the time, the date I agreed upon with Senior Hongxing is approaching. I wonder how his preparations are going. With this thought, Lin Moyu put away the Starlight Crystal, opened the space gate, and headed to the area where Hongxing Supreme resided. Upon arrival, he found that Hongxing Supreme was already gone. Hongxing Supreme had mentioned he needed to make some preparations, and it was clear he had gone to do so. With Hongxing Supreme absent, Lin Moyu didn't stay long. Opening the space gate again, he headed to the last relic. Upon reaching the location, he found the relic was gone. This relic, named Blood Spring, had existed for millions of years but had suddenly disappeared. Standing in the starry sky, Lin Moyu could still faintly sense traces of the relic's former presence, along with other lingering auras. Someone has been here and taken the relic. An ancient relic left by at least a peak Supreme. To pack up and take the relic, it must have been a Supreme. Who could it be, and why take the relic? What's the purpose? It seems there are still Supremes alive in this world. Besides special beings like the Starlight Beast and Hongxing Supreme, who else could it be? Lin Moyu couldn't figure it out. Humans couldn't possibly have a Supreme who lived for over 2 million years. So who could it be? After searching around the relic for a long time and finding nothing, Lin Moyu had no choice but to leave. He didn't return to the inner domain but continued deeper into the outer domain. Saint Talisman Heavenly Sovereign had said that if the Great World were truly in danger, After reaching the Saint Sovereign realm, he could seek out the Ghost Clan for help. The Ghost Clan truly existed, created by a certain heavenly sovereign. After learning the names of the 8 ancient heavenly sovereigns from Mu Nanur, Lin Moyu speculated that the Ghost Clan was created by the sole heavenly sovereign. The Ghost Clan had once demonstrated great power but later disappeared for unknown reasons. Some speculated that the Ghost Clan perished in a great battle, but since Saint Talisman Heavenly Sovereign mentioned them, it proved the Ghost Clan still existed. If not in the inner domain, they must be in the outer domain. Lin Moyu opened the space gate repeatedly, each time spanning 100,000 light-years, delving deeper into the outer domain at an astonishing speed. At the same time, he didn't forget to use the dragon-seeking orb to search for the Dragon Pearl. Only by retrieving the Dragon Pearl could he ensure the Heavenly Dragon would assist when the battle realm arrived, otherwise, the Heavenly Dragon might stand by and do nothing. The Heavenly Dragon's combat power was not much weaker than a Peak Supreme, essentially a Peak Supreme's enforcer. Since seeing the Great World's main body in the Sea of Realms, Lin Moyu had a rough estimate of the outer domain's size. The inner domain's diameter is about 2 million light-years. This 2 million light-years is just a tiny part of the entire Great World. The entire Great World's diameter should be around 10 million light-years. Excluding the inner domain's 2 million light-years, the outer domain's diameter reaches 8 million light-years. The outer domain is like a large sphere, enveloping the entire inner domain. Conducting a carpet search of the outer domain is clearly unrealistic. Even with tens of billions of skeletons, it would be a drop in the ocean. In such a vast space, finding the Dragon Pearl and the Ghost Clan is harder than finding a needle in a haystack. For this, Lin Moyu had only one method, relying on luck. He used the explosive luck technique to maximize his luck, with dragon roars constantly echoing in his ears. Luck is also a part of strength. Lin Moyu murmured, and suddenly he felt a clear energy coming from afar, falling upon him. Chapter 2312, 2312. Chapter 2312. The myriad-colored water also comes from the outside world with the clear energy enveloping him. The dragon roars in Lin Moyu's ears became even louder. He felt his luck surge once more, breaking through the limit and reaching another level. Using the explosive luck technique to check, Lin Moyu could no longer see any values, only a bright red expanse. Xiao Wu has broken through to the Saint Sovereign realm. Lin Moyu knew the source of the clear energy. It was Xiao Wu enhancing his luck after breaking through to the Saint Sovereign realm. This ability, looking across the entire human race, only Xiao Wu could achieve. With a smile on his lips, Lin Moyu said, "With enhanced luck and my explosive luck technique, I should be able to find some clues." As both luck and fortune surged, even his soul became much clearer. Lin Moyu randomly chose a direction and opened the space gate. He didn't know his direction, and it didn't matter. He followed his instincts. The direction kept changing, and the outer domain was vast and boundless, allowing him to roam freely. After another 100,000 light-year traversal, Lin Moyu suddenly saw a city. This city was already in ruins, its buildings completely destroyed. However, Lin Moyu could still recognize that this city was from ancient times, capable of supporting both civilian life and military operations. The current divine city of the human race was built based on ancient cities, and Mu Nanur's Soul City also bore a strong resemblance to it. Soul City is a magical treasure that can house souls, possessing both virtual and real power, existing in both illusion and reality. This broken city, however, was an ancient battlefield. It was evident that it had experienced countless battles, otherwise, it wouldn't have been so devastated. Its former glory had been completely buried by time, now drifting aimlessly in the boundless outer domain. Lin Moyu sighed, "I'll take you home." The containment talisman flew out, and he intended to bring this ancient human city back. No matter how broken the ancient city was, it was once a treasure of the human race. Since he had found it, he couldn't let it drift outside. The containment talisman expanded its vast space, capable of housing an entire star system. Though the ancient city was large, it could still be contained. Watching the ancient city gradually shrink and enter the containment talisman, Lin Moyu couldn't help but sigh. There are still many unsolved mysteries from ancient times. The origins of those ancient battlefields in the Divine City star domain, and their connection to Teacher Meng, remain puzzling. Truly perplexing. After storing the ancient city, Lin Moyu set off again, searching aimlessly. The dragon-seeking orb still hadn't found any trace of the fourth dragon pearl, but Lin Moyu wasn't anxious. Finding a dragon pearl wasn't easy. Day after day, Lin Moyu continued to explore the outer domain. Not only him, but he also released a massive number of skeleton generals. Although their number was just a drop in the ocean compared to the vast outer domain, it was better than nothing. Every once in a while, a clear energy would descend. Xiao Wu continuously enhanced Lin Moyu's luck, and the explosive luck technique never ceased. In this manner, he flew aimlessly for 5 years, encountering several remnants from ancient times, but they were all broken. Time had worn them down, and even perfect treasures from back then had turned into piles of junk after 2 million years. 5 years later, Lin Moyu was over 3 million light-years away from the inner domain, with only 1 million light-years left to the edge of the Great World. Here, he could vaguely sense the aura of the Sea of Realms. The Great World's primordial power had significantly weakened, losing control over the edge regions. The power of the Sea of Realms seeped in, making this area quite dangerous. Upon arriving here, Lin Moyu became much more cautious. The sea monster in the Sea of Realms had left a deep impression on him. Fortunately, this wasn't the Sea of Realms, so his undying undead and other techniques still worked. If only some primordial crystals could come through the Sea of Realms. Lin Moyu felt he was being overly optimistic. Primordial crystals were extremely rare, and there were likely many strong beings searching for them in the Sea of Realms. As he got closer to the edge of the Great World, the aura of the Sea of Realms became more pronounced. A month later, Lin Moyu suddenly sensed a familiar aura. In the dim void, a colorful light appeared. The colorful light was extremely eye-catching in the darkness. Lin Moyu quickly crossed billions of kilometers to get closer. Myriad-colored water. Lin Moyu was stunned. Myriad-colored water had appeared here. Myriad-colored water is known as the ancestor of all waters. He had seen the scene of myriad-colored water forming from the myriad immortal waterfall when crossing the Sea of Realms. That giant gourd, once seen, could never be forgotten. At that time, he found it strange why myriad-colored water would appear in the dark void. Logically, myriad-colored water shouldn't appear there. Until now, he finally understood. Here, a huge crack had formed in space, filled with the dense aura of the Sea of Realms. The power of the Sea of Realms flowed through the crack, while the Great World was powerless to repair it. Myriad-colored water flowed through this crack, dropping into the Great World, and then disappearing. Myriad-colored water doesn't stay in the surface space, it directly enters the deep space. With the laws of space fluctuating, Lin Moyu immediately entered the deep space. In the deep space, he saw myriad-colored water flowing like an underground river, heading far away. Lin Moyu followed the underground river, but soon lost its trail. Myriad-colored water seemed to pierce through the deep space, flowing to another place in a way even Lin Moyu couldn't comprehend. Lin Moyu had an epiphany. Countless laws converge into that gourd, flowing out as myriad-colored water. The myriad-colored water in the gourd flows to unknown places. If I'm lucky, some might flow here. Through this crack, it enters the Great World, becoming the myriad-colored water here. Myriad-colored water continuously evolves, eventually forming the ancestral water well, periodically erupting in the dark void. By this time, myriad-colored water has already absorbed the power of the Great World, differing from the original myriad-colored water. The ancestral water well I obtained can continuously produce myriad-colored water in the Great World, but it would be useless in the Sea of Realms. Lin Moyu felt he had figured it out, understanding the situation. Myriad-colored water wasn't originally from the Great World, it also came from the outside. After entering the Great World, it underwent some changes. The myriad-colored water before him differed from the myriad-colored water he had obtained. Clearly, the myriad-colored water before him was more primordial and powerful. Before absorbing the aura of the Great World, myriad-colored water was the true ancestor of all waters. Lin Moyu's heart stirred. If the ancestral water well could contain the primordial myriad-colored water, could it undergo a transformation? Acting on his thought, Lin Moyu immediately took out the ancestral water well and placed it in the crack to collect the primordial myriad-colored water. The frequency of myriad-colored water drops wasn't high and was quite irregular. Sometimes, only one drop would fall in an hour, and sometimes one drop every 10 minutes. Lin Moyu wasn't in a hurry, he patiently waited for the myriad-colored water to drip into the well. Day by day, as more myriad-colored water dripped in, the ancestral water well finally began to change. Chapter 2313, 2313. Chapter 2313. When fate brings us together for the third time, the original myriad-colored water dripped very slowly, averaging only about 30 drops a day. Lin Moyu waited for almost 30 days, and when he had collected 1,000 drops, the ancestral water well finally began to change. Brilliant colors erupted from the well, enveloping Lin Moyu in a kaleidoscope of hues. A magnificent scene appeared before Lin Moyu's eyes once again, showcasing the spectacular sight of countless waterfalls converging. Various laws cascaded down from the waterfalls, ultimately gathering into a gourd. The gourd was riddled with holes, and as these laws entered and circulated within it, they transformed into myriad-colored water, flowing out through the holes to unknown destinations. Lin Moyu had seen this scene when he ascended to the Bian realm, and he speculated that this myriad-colored water might flow to various worlds. Suddenly, a stream of myriad-colored water magnified before his eyes, and the scene abruptly changed. Lin Moyu realized that what he was seeing was the myriad-colored water right in front of him. In the vision, this stream of myriad-colored water flowed out from the gourd, traversed a fantastical space, and then dispersed. Part of it continued to penetrate through time and space, eventually arriving here. Lin Moyu finally understood how the myriad-colored water before him had come to be. The myriad-colored water originated from that gourd, flowing out through one of its countless holes. And it wasn't even the entirety, just a small part of it, almost negligible. That gourd can gather countless laws into myriad-colored water. It is the true treasure. Even the diluted myriad-colored water he had obtained had such miraculous effects. Now, having obtained the primordial myriad-colored water, its effects would undoubtedly be even more astonishing. The scene before him changed again, and Lin Moyu saw the gourd once more. His eyes narrowed sharply this time. The scene was different. There were more people around the gourd, both men and women, about a dozen in total. They held treasures resembling wells, collecting the myriad-colored water beneath the gourd. They looked as happy as children, laughing and playing, and the treasures in their hands were identical to the ancestral water well. Clearly, the evolution of the myriad-colored water into the ancestral water well was related to this. The gourd had a spirit, and the myriad-colored water it produced seemed to have gained some spirituality as well. Lin Moyu was somewhat astonished. Where exactly was that gourd, and why were people able to collect the myriad-colored water? He vaguely felt that the place must be extremely mysterious and that he shouldn't pry, as it might be dangerous. At this moment, a gentle voice sounded. As the saying goes, things happen in threes. Little friend, seeing this scene for the third time means it is fate. Let me give you a drop of the essence of the ancestral water as a token of goodwill. If you ever come in person, I will invite you for tea. The sudden voice shook Lin Moyu's mind. He then saw an elderly man with kind eyes and a gentle face looking at him from the clouds behind the gourd. Though far away, the old man could see him through time and space. Not only did the old man see him, but he also allowed Lin Moyu to see him. With a flick of the old man's finger, a drop of essence flew from his fingertip, traversing time and space, and landed in Lin Moyu's hand. The scene before him completely dissipated, leaving no light or gourd. If not for the essence of the ancestral water in his hand, Lin Moyu would have thought he had just experienced a dream. The void returned to darkness, with the only light being the slowly dripping myriad-colored water. The primordial myriad-colored water continued to fall into the ancestral water well, transforming it. The transformation would take some time, but Lin Moyu was patient. He could wait. He could feel the ancestral water well growing stronger. This experience taught Lin Moyu that the true name of the myriad-colored water was actually ancestral water. Myriad-colored water was just the name given to it in the great world, but its true name was ancestral water. After being diluted, ancestral water became myriad-colored water, with a significant difference between the two. He eagerly anticipated the full power of the ancestral water. But before that, Lin Moyu focused on the essence of the ancestral water. The profound old man had said he would give a drop of the essence as a token of goodwill and mentioned that Lin Moyu had seen the gourd 3 times. Once when I ascended to the Bian realm, once when the ancestral water well was activated, and once after understanding its origin. That's 3 times. Things happen in threes. Seeing the gourd 3 times means it is fate, and he knows about all 3 times. What kind of place is that? It feels terrifying. Lin Moyu's thoughts were chaotic as he examined the essence of the ancestral water. The essence was only the size of a fingernail and did not emit the colorful light of the ancestral water. It was incredibly pure, and Lin Moyu could feel its purity, the purest thing he had ever encountered. The essence of the ancestral water, as the name suggests, is the essence of the ancestral water. Ancestral water is extremely complex, gathering countless laws. But the essence of the ancestral water is extremely pure, pure to the extreme. Lin Moyu once again understood the concept of extremes meet, similar to the undying law. He studied it for a long time but couldn't make sense of it. The essence of the ancestral water was too advanced, beyond his current level of understanding. I'll ask the heavenly dragon if I get the chance, perhaps he knows. Antares definitely knows, but who knows when he'll come out? He's always delaying, too slow. Lin Moyu believed Antares would eventually come out, but the timing was uncertain. A year later, the ancestral water well was finally filled with ancestral water, exactly 10,000 drops. The ancestral water well also completed its transformation, becoming more exquisite and beautiful. It looks exactly like the wells those children held. Interesting. I wonder how powerful the ancestral water is. Lin Moyu wanted to test it but suddenly noticed that the gap through which the ancestral water dripped was gradually closing, about to disappear. This gap had existed for countless years, since ancient times. Why was it suddenly closing now? Lin Moyu instinctively thought of the old man, it must be his doing. Who is he, and why is he doing this? But on the bright side, if it really is his doing, at least he let me fill the well. What is the old man's identity? He seems to know everything, similar to the old man in the green robe from the small world. The two were not the same person, Lin Moyu was certain, but they shared many similarities, both being unfathomable. The gap quickly disappeared, and from then on, the great world no longer had a supply of ancestral water. Without ancestral water, there would be no myriad-colored water. Fortunately, the great world had accumulated countless years' worth of myriad-colored water, an amount so vast it would take a long time to deplete. The myriad-colored water evolved into the ancestral water well, which essentially is myriad-colored water. The water in the well would regenerate with use, until it was all used up. However, the primordial ancestral water in his hand would diminish with each use, and once gone, it would be irreplaceable unless he could access the gourd. Lin Moyu knew he couldn't reach that place. Never mind, let's test its power. With a flick of his finger, the undying flame exploded, and a skeleton king appeared in the starry sky. The skeleton king now had the combat power of a half-step supreme, and a very strong one at that, just a step away from being a true supreme. Even the former demon lord might not be a match for the skeleton king. Lin Moyu reluctantly took out a drop of the ancestral water and let it fall on the skeleton king. The skeleton king erupted in flames, and a terrifying aura shot into the sky. The Bone Law Galaxy automatically appeared, transforming into a waterfall, and a bone world evolved behind the skeleton king, exuding terror. Supreme. Chapter 2314, 2314. Chapter 2314, The Parents of Luo Shen, Fellow Taoist, what is your surname? Witnessing the skeleton king stepping into the supreme realm in an extremely short time, Lin Moyu found it hard to believe. Previously, the skeleton king was just a step away from being a supreme, at the peak of the half-step supreme level. The ancestral water significantly enhanced the skeleton king's combat power, allowing it to directly step into the supreme realm. Lin Moyu estimated, somewhat surprised, that the effect of the primordial myriad-colored water far exceeded his expectations. This is just one drop. What if there's another drop? Thinking this, he extravagantly threw out another drop of ancestral water. The second drop fell on the skeleton king, and its aura increased again. The skeleton king grew stronger, but the increase was not as significant as the first time. Lin Moyu estimated, the skeleton king's combat power is now comparable to the bone battle formation. With a thought, he released a third drop of myriad-colored water. The skeleton king's combat power increased again, but the increment was smaller this time. Then came the fourth drop, and the fifth. The skeleton king's aura grew stronger and stronger. After 5 drops, it was almost at the mid-supreme level. According to Lin Moyu's knowledge, the strength of a supreme is roughly divided into low, mid, high, and peak levels. After receiving 5 drops of ancestral water, the skeleton king's strength was close to mid-supreme, which was its limit. Lin Moyu evaluated and thought, if I don't care about the cost and continue using ancestral water, the skeleton king's combat power can be further enhanced, but the increment will become smaller and smaller. Even with more ancestral water, it might be impossible for the skeleton king to break through to mid-supreme. The effect of ancestral water is stronger than myriad-colored water, but its marginal effect is more apparent. There's no need to use too much. Lin Moyu felt confident, knowing that using just 1 or 2 drops of ancestral water yielded the strongest effect. 3 to 5 drops would still be effective, but the effect would significantly diminish. If not pursuing the extreme, there's no need to use a third drop. Overall, the existence of ancestral water allowed him to possess 25 skeleton kings comparable to Supremes. Ancestral water could be used in various scenarios, including all spells and battle formations. Lin Moyu considered various application scenarios and found that the existence of ancestral water at least doubled his combat power. Compared to this, myriad-colored water is really weak. It's truly a good thing. Obtaining ancestral water on this trip was an unexpected gain, and Lin Moyu felt immensely satisfied. He wasn't greedy. Although he hadn't found the Ghost Clan or the Dragon Pearl, finding ancestral water was already excellent. Boom! The starry sky shook, and Lin Moyu's soul was suddenly startled, sensing a change in the starry sky a light year away. The change was so intense that it could be felt even from a light year away. Even a battle between Saint Sovereigns would rarely have aftershocks that could be felt from a light year away. The starry sky continued to shake, rumbling incessantly. This rumbling couldn't be heard by ordinary people, only sensed by those with strong spiritual perception like Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu's heart stirred, and he immediately opened the space gate. The closer he got to the source, the more intense the shaking became, with the rumbling echoing in his soul like heavy hammers. The sound of water roared, and as Lin Moyu arrived, he frowned. The area had turned into a watery world, with the barrier of the Great World seemingly broken, and water from the Sea of Realms was pouring in. The gap was so large that its edges couldn't be seen. Lin Moyu stood at a distance, muttering, although the Great World has lost most of its control here, the main body remains relatively intact. Such a large gap with water pouring in from the Sea of Realms shouldn't happen often. He vaguely felt that the sudden appearance of such a large gap in the Great World wasn't simple. As the Sea of Realms churned, Lin Moyu suddenly sensed a spatial force, and a light shone from the Sea of Realms. Someone's there. In the pouring water from the Sea of Realms, there was someone. Before he could see clearly, the water exploded, and a strange fish, round like a ball, was blasted out, separated from the Sea of Realms. The strange fish roared in terror, its fins flailing wildly as if struggling. But its struggle was futile, as it was surrounded by spatial rules. The spatial rules twisted space, instantly sending it billions of miles away from the Sea of Realms. In the spatial distortion, a space gate opened billions of miles away, and two people rushed out, engaging the strange fish in battle. The strange fish struggled madly but was completely suppressed. The two worked in perfect harmony, one manipulating space to strangle and restrict the strange fish's movements, while the other wielded a sharp sword, continuously cutting wounds on the strange fish, seemingly trying to disembowel and slice it into pieces. Lin Moyu watched from a distance, squinting his eyes. Both were Saint Sovereigns, one a human male, the other a female resembling a human, manipulating spatial rules, a member of the Starry Sky Fish clan. If she wasn't Luo Shen, her identity was obvious. The man was Luo Qixin, Luo Shen's father. The woman was Yu Lan'er, Luo Shen's mother, and once a princess of the Starry Sky Fish clan. Years ago, the two eloped to the outer domain. After many years, Luo Qixin returned alone, bringing back Luo Shen. Everyone thought Yu Lan'er was dead because the Starry Sky Fish clan had a short lifespan, even Saint Sovereigns living only 5,000 years, far less than humans. Later, Luo Qixin left again, and only Saint Sovereign Hao knew he went to find Yu Lan'er, who wasn't dead. Luo Shen also knew, which is why she went to the outer domain after reaching the Saint Sovereign realm, searching for her parents. Both Yu Lan'er and Luo Shen broke the 5,000-year lifespan curse of the Starry Sky Fish clan. By age, Yu Lan'er and Luo Qixin had lived for over 10,000 years. They never returned from the outer domain, and no one knew what they were doing there. The strange fish soon fell into a desperate situation under their siege. No matter how it resisted, it was futile, especially after leaving the Sea of Realms, its aura quickly weakened, no match for the two. The strange fish's injuries worsened, and after a few minutes, it was disemboweled and killed. Luo Qixin, holding a sharp sword, sliced off the strange fish's head with a blue flash. Then, the spatial rules exploded, shattering the strange fish's head, and they extracted a bone-like object. Lin Moyu watched from afar, noting that the bone extracted from the strange fish's head was as clear as jade, quite extraordinary. They killed the strange fish for this bone, Lin Moyu thought, flying over. After obtaining the bone, Yu Lan'er used spatial rules to bring Luo Qixin and the strange fish's body instantly before Lin Moyu. They had known of Lin Moyu's presence but didn't engage him during the battle. Lin Moyu greeted them, "Greetings, Senior Luo and Senior Lan." "Wait a moment." Luo Qixin casually tossed the strange fish's body back into the Sea of Realms, then took out a trident-like treasure. The two activated the treasure together, and it emitted a glow that fell on the gap in the Great World's barrier. Under the blue light, the barrier gradually healed, and the Sea of Realms receded, restoring everything to normal. Only then did Luo Qixin turn to Lin Moyu, "Fellow Taoist, what is your surname?" Chapter 2315, 2315. Chapter 2315. Fish meat from the Sea of Realms. As fellow humans and both being saint sovereigns, Luo Qixin was very polite in his demeanor. He probably didn't expect to encounter a fellow human in the edge of the world, and his eyes showed a hint of surprise. Beside him, Yuliner stood silently, her expression slightly cold. To her, Lin Moyu seemed unimportant. Lin Moyu smiled, "Junior Lin Moyu, I have heard Saint Sovereign Hao speak of Senior Luo's stories. I didn't expect to meet you here." Luo Qixin smiled, "Old Hao, if he told you about me, it means you are someone he trusts. I didn't expect that after leaving the human race for so many years, such a young saint sovereign would emerge among them. Truly remarkable." It was hard to tell Lin Moyu's exact age, but he appeared very young. To become a saint sovereign at such a young age, he must be an exceptional genius. Lin Moyu humbly replied, "Senior Luo overpraises me. I am just a bit luckier than others." Luo Qixin laughed, "You're too modest. To reach the saint sovereign realm, it can't be just luck." At this moment, Yuliner suddenly spoke, "You seem to have the aura of my fish clan." Lin Moyu flipped his hand and took out a shell. The shell was given by Yu Qingru, and over time, it had absorbed her aura. Seeing the shell, Yuliner's eyes showed a hint of nostalgia. "How is the fish clan now?" Lin Moyu said, "The fish clan is doing well. Recently, they have been collaborating with the human race to build space gates." Yuliner was a bit surprised, "Building space gates? How is that possible?" Space gates that could be used by ordinary people were the highest achievement of the fish clan in the field of space. How could they build them for the human race? Yuliner felt that something must have happened, otherwise, it wouldn't be like this. Lin Moyu said, "It's a long story. The situation within the domain has changed significantly. The 100 tribes have been exterminated, and the human race has regained control of the stars." Quote. Hearing this, Luo Qixin was also shocked. He said, "It seems a lot has happened within the human race over these years." No rush, tell us slowly. Meanwhile, let's enjoy some delicacies that can't be found among the human race." With these words, Yuliner understood and casually waved her hand. A circular continent with a diameter of 10,000 meters appeared in the starry sky. The continent had trees, water, green grass, and even a small lake. In the center of the lake, there was a small courtyard, which was the home of Luo Qixin and Yuliner. Luo Qixin earnestly said, "Please, come to my home and taste some delicacies that can't be found among the human race." Lin Moyu immediately agreed, "I happen to have some fine wine here." "Excellent, excellent," Luo Qixin exclaimed. In the courtyard, Lin Moyu and Luo Qixin sat around a stove, while Yuliner took out 2 large pieces of meat and began roasting them with the Saint Sovereign's fire. The meat looked like fish, and Lin Moyu could tell it was extraordinary, emitting an unusual aura. Despite being roasted by the Saint Sovereign's fire, the meat cooked very slowly, gradually releasing a unique fragrance. The aroma was as special as the meat, directly reaching the soul. Just by smelling it, Lin Moyu naturally felt a hunger. The hunger arose from his soul, quickly spreading throughout his body, and his stomach growled. Lin Moyu hadn't eaten in a long time, and at his level, he didn't need food. He couldn't remember the last time he felt hunger. With a look of surprise, Lin Moyu asked, "Senior Luo, what kind of meat is this?" He had already guessed that it was fish meat, likely from the Sea of Realms, as it was something the human race didn't have. Luo Qixin smiled, "It's a type of fish meat from the Sea of Realms." "Indeed, it's fish meat, just as I guessed. Fish clan roasting fish meat is quite peculiar," Lin Moyu thought, while taking out 2 jars of wine. "Please, taste this fine wine, seniors." Luo Qixin eagerly grabbed the wine jar and poured it into his mouth, revealing his fondness for good wine. Having been here for so many years, his old stock was probably depleted, making this a rare treat. After a few gulps, Luo Qixin exclaimed, "Good wine. If I'm not mistaken, this must be a fine brew aged for at least 3,000 years from the Luo family in the Divine City." Though they shared the same surname, the Luo family in the Divine City had no relation to Luo Qixin. However, the Luo family's wine was quite famous in the Divine City, and Luo Qixin had tasted it before. Lin Moyu smiled. Senior is correct. It is indeed a fine wine from the Luo family in the Divine City. Luo Qixin took a few more gulps, wiping his mouth. It's been years since I drank so heartily. Yu Lan'er watched with a smile, happy to see Luo Qixin enjoying himself. As the fish meat gradually cooked, the aroma grew stronger, and the hunger in Lin Moyu's soul intensified. The aroma alone could affect the soul, making Lin Moyu eager to taste it. Finally, Yu Lan'er finished roasting the fish meat without any seasoning and served it directly. Luo Qixin smiled. Come, have a taste. With a few flicks of her fingers, Yu Lan'er cut the fish meat into small pieces. Lin Moyu took a piece and put it in his mouth. Instantly, a rich flavor exploded, and a peculiar power surged into his soul. In an instant, Lin Moyu's aura soared, his entire body's energy and blood activated, and his previously dormant power fully erupted. Behind him, a hazy rule world emerged, filled with starlight and surging with 4 laws. After a few seconds, everything calmed down. The fish meat's flavor was not just a traditional delicacy but a sublime experience for the soul, an unparalleled enjoyment. The whole process was wonderful. After eating the fish meat, Lin Moyu felt as if he had changed, though it was hard to describe. Luo Qixin and Yu Lan'er were stunned, exchanging looks of disbelief. Even after Lin Moyu recovered, they hadn't fully processed what they had seen. Lin Moyu exhaled deeply. This meat is truly extraordinary. Luo Qixin said, Lin Taoist, you are the extraordinary one, possessing 4 laws and such a powerful and perfect rule world. Lin Moyu smiled. I am just a bit luckier than others. Yu Lan'er suddenly asked, how do you have the space law? She knew the rules of the Starry Sky Fish clan. They would never allow others to master the space law. If detected, they would take action to stop it, even to the point of killing. Lin Moyu took out a jade tablet and infused it with his soul, conveying the events of recent years. Some things were too lengthy to explain, so it was better to let them see for themselves. He didn't reveal everything, just the main points. Handing the jade tablet to Luo Qixin, he said, Senior Luo, please see for yourself. The recent events are all here. Luo Qixin carefully examined the jade tablet, his expression changing constantly, sometimes in amazement, sometimes in frowns. After a while, he put down the jade tablet and sighed, I didn't expect so much to happen in just a few hundred years. Yu Lan'er also took the jade tablet and read it, feeling a mix of emotions. I didn't expect our clan to re-emerge. I wonder how Luo Shen is doing. Lin Moyu smiled. Luo Shen has become a saint sovereign. I saw her a few years ago. She is searching for you in the outer domain. He didn't mention Luo Shen being deceived and ambushed by the Mountain Forest Supreme. That matter was in the past and not worth bringing up. The focus was on Luo Shen searching for them. Unfortunately, the outer domain was vast, and Luo Shen hadn't found them yet. Lin Moyu had no solution for this, leaving it to luck. Suddenly, he remembered something and took out another shell. Chapter 2316, 2316. Chapter 2316. The world is full of wonders. The Starry Sky Fish clan is adept at using shells, much like how humans today favor jade, and in ancient times, humans preferred pearls. These are all external objects used to carry certain things after refinement. The shells of the Starry Sky Fish clan also vary. The shell given by Yu Qingru is different from others, each shell containing unique imprints. Lin Moyu suddenly remembered that Luo Shen had once given him a shell as a small gift. He had tossed it aside and never looked at it again. Upon recalling this, he realized there were many things he hadn't had time to do. Seeing Luo Shen's shell, Yu Lan'er's face changed dramatically, becoming excited. This is Shen'er's shell. The shell had Luo Shen's unique imprint, which Yu Lan'er recognized immediately. As a mother, how could she mistake her child's belongings? Yu Lan'er had been somewhat excited knowing Luo Shen was safe, but now she was even more so. Lin Moyu handed the shell to Yu Lan'er. Luo Shen should be looking for you in the outer domain, but it's too vast, and she hasn't found you yet. Yu Lan'er held the shell tightly. We can find her. With this, we can find her. Using the shell, Yu Lan'er could use the secret methods of the fish clan to sense Luo Shen within a certain range. Originally, Lin Moyu had thought that if they couldn't find her, they could ask White Tiger for help. Using the fish clan's essence blood and the bloodline soul tracking, they should be able to locate Luo Shen. Now it seemed unnecessary. Yu Lan'er had her own methods. Yulanur was very excited and happy, tears streaming down her face. Thank you, Taoist Lin. Luo Qixin was much calmer. Thank you, Taoist Lin. I had returned to the fish clan before but heard that Shanur had already left. I tried to find her but couldn't. Now, our family can finally reunite. Lin Moyu said, congratulations, senior. I have a question I'd like to ask. Luo Qixin waved his hand, ask away. Lin Moyu asked, as far as I know, the lifespan of the Starry Sky Fish Clan's Saint Sovereigns is only 5,000 years. How did Senior Lan extend her lifespan? Luo Qixin laughed, so that's what you're curious about. It was actually a coincidence. After Lanur gave birth to Shanur, I discovered that her lifespan had broken through the Fish Clan's limit. But her lifespan was unstable, fluctuating. At that time, we were in the outer domain and encountered something. Quote. Lin Moyu knew the origin of the Starry Sky Fish Clan. They were not a naturally occurring species in the Great World but were created by the Space Heavenly Sovereign, so their lifespan was only a tenth of that of humans. Yulanur breaking the lifespan limit after giving birth to Luo Shen was likely related to Luo Qixin. Luo Shen had human blood, making her a half-native species of the Great World, with a much longer lifespan than the Fish Clan. Yulanur was influenced by both Luo Qixin and Luo Shen, breaking through the Fish Clan's lifespan limit. But this breakthrough was not a fundamental change, so it was naturally unstable. At that time, they were in the outer domain and encountered two starry sky beasts fighting to the death over a strange fish's corpse. At that time, Luo Qixin and Yulanur were both at the Bian realm, even weaker than the two starry sky beasts. In the end, the two starry sky beasts were both severely injured, allowing them to take advantage. Anything that could make two Bian realm starry sky beasts fight to the death must be extraordinary. From the strange fish's head, they obtained a bone containing a peculiar power that stabilized Yulanur's lifespan. Moreover, after eating the strange fish's meat, they quickly broke through to the Saint Sovereign realm. However, the power in the bone was limited and couldn't be absorbed indefinitely. So they began searching for strange fish in the outer domain. Strange fish were rare and hard to find, but with the advantage of spatial laws, they managed to find some. Later, they accidentally obtained a trident-like treasure, which was very special and required both of them to activate. This treasure could sense the location of strange fish, break the world's barriers, and bring the strange fish into the great world. After killing the strange fish, the trident could also repair the world's barriers. Since then, they had a stable way to obtain strange fish, and Yulanur's lifespan was no longer an issue. After hearing this almost fantastical story, Lin Moyu couldn't help but marvel at the wonders of the world, where anything could happen. According to Luo Qixin, when they obtained the trident, it was already embedded in a strange fish. That strange fish had actively broken through the great world's barriers and entered along with the Sea of Realms, coincidentally encountering them. Having been to the Sea of Realms, Lin Moyu was more concerned about who owned the trident. A treasure that could easily pierce the great world's barriers was truly terrifying. Luo Qixin generously showed the trident to Lin Moyu. For someone he had just met less than a day ago, Luo Qixin's trust in Lin Moyu was evident. Lin Moyu held the trident and examined it closely. It looked ordinary, even a bit rough, without the sharpness of a powerful treasure. According to Luo Qixin, the trident showed no special traits when not activated. To activate it, they had to use soul power, and only by combining their powers could they barely activate it. Lin Moyu asked, may I try using it? Of course, I'll help you. Luo Qixin readily agreed, such a small request was nothing. Lin Moyu said, let me try it alone first. Luo Qixin laughed, sure, no problem. With a thought, Lin Moyu's vast soul power poured into the trident. Lin Moyu's soul was at the supreme level, far superior in quality to a Saint Sovereign's. Moreover, he had the world tree constantly replenishing his soul power, making it nearly inexhaustible. In just 2 seconds, the trident hummed and emitted a glow, releasing a powerful aura. Lin Moyu suddenly sensed a strong primordial power hidden within the trident, usually undetectable, only revealed when activated. With the addition of primordial power, the trident transformed into an extremely powerful treasure, capable of easily piercing the world's barriers. Lin Moyu activated the trident alone, surprising Luo Qixin and Yulanur. What they could only achieve together, Lin Moyu did alone. They realized that Lin Moyu was stronger than they were. After examining it for a while, Lin Moyu understood that the secret to the trident's power was the primordial power within it. He returned the trident to Luo Qixin, thank you, senior. This trident is indeed extraordinary. May I see the fish bone as well? Without hesitation, Yu Lan'er handed a fish bone to Lin Moyu. This fish bone is a gift for you, Taoist Lin. Over the years, they had obtained many fish bones, so giving away one or two was no big deal. The fish bone was as smooth as jade, contrasting sharply with the ugly appearance of the strange fish. The entire fish had only this special bone in its head, with magical properties. According to Luo Qixin, there were many types of strange fish, some with delicious meat, others not so much. But the bones in their heads all had the same function. Lin Moyu sensed a peculiar power within the fish bone. It wasn't primordial power, but it seemed equally potent. After examining it for a long time, Lin Moyu couldn't figure it out, admitting his limited knowledge. Luo Qixin suggested, Taoist Lin, you can try refining and absorbing it. Lin Moyu was intrigued and began refining and absorbing the fish bone as Luo Qixin instructed. Chapter 2317, 2317. Chapter 2317. The effect of fish bones. Time reversal. Refining and absorbing the fish bone also required the use of soul power. The method was simple. Just use soul power to evolve the soul fire to refine it. This posed no difficulty for Lin Moyu. In the soul fire, the fish bone quickly melted, eventually transforming into a clear energy that entered Lin Moyu's body. The clear energy circulated through his body before finally settling in his soul. Wherever the clear energy passed, Lin Moyu felt a sense of stability. Indeed, stability. His entire strength became stable, his soul became stable, and his rule world also became stable. His strength itself did not increase, nor did his realm improve. Luo Qixin said, do you feel it? Its effect is to stabilize the physical body, soul, and realm. This also includes lifespan, which becomes stable as well. Now, Lan'er's lifespan is the same as mine, stabilized at 40,000 years. No matter what accidents happen, even if injured, her lifespan will not change. This is its effect. As for the fish meat, it can enhance one's realm, but only at the beginning. Later, it loses its effect and becomes just a delicacy. For Lin Moyu, a saint sovereign with an incredibly solid foundation, the fish meat had no use. He pondered Luo Qixin's words and his own feelings, suddenly realizing that the so-called stability was not so simple. It wasn't just stabilizing lifespan, it was more about stabilizing the realm. Many powerful beings, after being injured, experience a decline in their realm, leaving hidden injuries that are difficult to recover from. The stabilizing effect of the fish bone could prevent their realm from declining. As long as the injury was healed, they could return to their peak state without leaving hidden injuries. This effect might seem trivial but was actually very important. For Luo Qixin and his wife, the fish bone was used to stabilize lifespan, but for other cultivators, it could preserve their realm, making it a valuable asset for those unafraid of injury. Moreover, its use wasn't like Yu Lan'er's continuous absorption. Instead, it could be absorbed before a great battle. Even if injured during the battle, there would be no need to worry. The effect of the fish bone could last for several decades. Lin Moyu estimated that one fish bone's effect could last for decades. This would provide ample time for healing. If time wasn't enough, another fish bone could be absorbed. There should be many such strange fish in the Sea of Realms. Lin Moyu and Luo Qixin chatted for a while longer, drinking wine and eating meat, discussing recent events within the domain. Lin Moyu also mentioned his purpose for coming to the outer domain, but unfortunately, they had not encountered the ghost clan either. The outer domain was vast, making the search harder than finding a needle in a haystack. However, Luo Qixin did give Lin Moyu a lead. About 5 million light-years from their location, there were traces of life activity. Some broken buildings had appeared there. They had encountered them but were too focused on finding strange fish to pay much attention. Luo Qixin devoted most of his thoughts to his wife, even neglecting his daughter. This man loved his wife to the extreme. After a hearty meal, it was time to part ways. Before leaving, Luo Qixin gave Lin Moyu some fish meat as a gift. Lin Moyu continued his search for the ghost clan, while Luo Qixin and Yu Lan'er went to find Luo Shen. Opening the space gate repeatedly, Lin Moyu traversed the void, crossing 5 million light-years to the place Luo Qixin had mentioned. The dragon-seeking orb showed no reaction. There were no dragon pearls here. This was expected. The vast starry sky made finding a dragon pearl no easy task. After searching for a while, he finally found traces of life activity. There were some fragments resembling meteorites, which Lin Moyu identified as coming from stars. The stars were just ordinary stars, indicating that stars had once passed through here. Given the speed of stars, even if they had started flying here from ancient times, they couldn't have reached this place. The speed of stars couldn't match the expansion speed of the great world. The outer domain's emptiness was precisely because of this. Unless they came from an even older era, but Lin Moyu thought that was unlikely, as that era was too ancient to trace back. Collecting the stars, he continued searching, finding more star fragments. Some fragments were relatively large, still retaining traces of life, though very faint. If not for Lin Moyu's keen soul, he wouldn't have sensed them. Finally, Lin Moyu found more star fragments, forming a meteorite cluster with even denser traces of life. A star was shattered here. The person who drove the star here once had a great battle with some beings. The battle was fierce, shattering the star and possibly killing many. What was here that caused such a battle? Lin Moyu's heart stirred, and the time law began to surge. Manipulating the time law, he performed a time reversal. The real world emerged, and vast soul power surged, fully unleashing the time law. The time law enveloped a large area of the starry sky, then transformed into rules. The time law star river extended, covering this part of the starry sky. In the distance of the time law star river was the river of time. Lin Moyu was using the time law for a time reversal for the first time. In the time law, whatever happened in the past would leave traces in the river of time. Although he couldn't enter the river of time, he could use the time law to find these traces and make them reappear. The longer the time reversed, the more power required. Lin Moyu didn't know when the battle occurred or if he had enough power to reverse it. Regardless, he had to try to find out. The time law star river connected to the river of time, searching for past traces. At the same time, it scattered light and shadows, revealing everything that had happened in the starry sky. For most of the time, this starry sky was silent. Lin Moyu didn't know when the battle occurred. He tried to find past traces, reversing time faster and faster. The consumption of soul power also increased dramatically, and Lin Moyu's pressure grew rapidly. The world tree continuously replenished his soul power. In the blink of an eye, time had reversed 100,000 years. If it were an ordinary saint sovereign, their soul power would have been exhausted long ago. But Lin Moyu could still persist, with the world tree being his greatest support. 100,000 years ago, this starry sky was already like this. Lin Moyu continued reversing, 200,000 years, 300,000 years. Time grew longer, reaching 500,000 years ago, and his soul power finally began to run out. The world tree did its best to replenish, but it was still a bit short, unable to keep up with the consumption. Lin Moyu estimated he could last up to 800,000 years, after which his soul power would be completely exhausted. As his soul power dwindled, Lin Moyu struggled more. At 750,000 years ago, the starry sky finally showed changes. Fragments flew, forming a cluster. Getting closer, Lin Moyu's soul power was 80–90% depleted. Seeing the change, he gritted his teeth and continued reversing. Time flowed, and the meteorite cluster's changes grew more intense. At 800,000 years ago, the changes were even more dramatic. Lin Moyu knew he was close to the time of the great battle but still couldn't see clearly. Unwilling, one more push, his soul roared, and the 10-colored dragon soul crystal breathed dragon breath into his soul, providing some soul power. However, providing soul power wasn't the dragon soul crystal's main ability. Its main function was to purify soul power. Doing this now was better than nothing. The world tree scattered golden light, desperately supporting Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu was fighting with all his might, and so was the world tree. Chapter 2318, 2318. Chapter 2318, a mission lasting 2 million years 810,000 years. 820,000 years, 825,000 years. The pressure on Lin Moyu increased, and his soul power was nearly exhausted. Finally, when the time reached 830,000 years, Lin Moyu saw a figure. A shadow flashed by, blurry and indistinct, impossible to discern clearly. It seemed to just pass through, then disappeared. At this point, his soul power was completely depleted. Unwilling, just a bit more, the world tree sensed Lin Moyu's unwillingness and shook violently. Not only the world tree but also the 10-colored dragon soul crystal and the spell stars all felt Lin Moyu's unwillingness. The infinite fusion suddenly moved, flying to the side of his soul body, releasing a mist of chaotic energy. Strangely, the chaotic mist was not for Lin Moyu but for the soul gem on the scourge staff in his hand. The originally dormant soul gem was stimulated by the chaotic mist, as if awakening, emitting light and releasing waves of soul power into the soul body. The previously dried-up soul body was suddenly nourished and regained strength. Lin Moyu was overjoyed and continued to reverse time. 830,001 years. He finally saw the great battle. The scale of the battle was not small, involving 10 star systems and hundreds of stars. They formed a star array, from which strong beings shrouded in mist flew out to fight. Ghost Clan. Lin Moyu was delighted, immediately recognizing the legendary Ghost Clan. The Ghost Clan was fighting against strange fish from the Sea of Realms. But it wasn't just one strange fish, it was a group. During the battle, a gap appeared in the spatial barrier, and the Sea of Realms poured in, bringing a large number of strange fish. The strange fish looked identical, numbering over 100,000, forming a massive school. The Ghost Clan fought the strange fish for a long time, ultimately eliminating them but at a great cost. 5 stars were destroyed in the battle, reducing 10 star systems to 9.5. After the battle, the Ghost Clan repaired the Great World's barrier and took the strange fish corpses away. The method the Ghost Clan used to repair the barrier was identical to Luo Qixin's, using a trident. Time reversal stopped, the time law disappeared, and Lin Moyu's soul power was completely exhausted, not a drop left. However, with the World Tree, it wouldn't take long to recover. Lin Moyu murmured, "They took the strange fish corpses and cleaned the battlefield, not leaving a trace. Clearly, the strange fish corpses are useful to them." The Ghost Clan suddenly came here back then, likely following the orders of the Heavenly Sovereign. After all these years, the Ghost Clan never returned. Perhaps it was also under the Heavenly Sovereign's command. The races created by the Heavenly Sovereign, such as the Starry Sky Demon God Clan, seem to have been exterminated. The Starry Sky Spirit Clan has only Lillian left, and the Starry Sky Fish Clan doesn't know their origin. Perhaps only the Ghost Clan retains complete records. They brought 10 star systems here, clearly prepared for long-term residence in the outer domain, likely carrying out a mission from the Heavenly Sovereign. Otherwise, the Saint Talisman Heavenly Sovereign wouldn't have sent Lin Moyu to find them. The exact answer could only be found by locating the Ghost Clan. After resting for a while and recovering his soul power, Lin Moyu stepped forward and disappeared, heading in the direction the Ghost Clan had left. Although it had been over 800,000 years, tracking them was difficult, but he had to try. 10 star systems are not small and would leave traces in the starry sky. Their movement speed couldn't match his, giving him a chance to catch up. He moved 10 billion kilometers with each step, observing as he went. Though this reduced efficiency, it greatly increased accuracy. Lin Moyu used his method to track the Ghost Clan. He searched repeatedly, changing directions multiple times, feeling he was getting closer to the right direction. When the Heavenly Sovereign sent the Ghost Clan to the outer domain, he must have opened a space gate, likely personally sent by the Space Heavenly Sovereign. Otherwise, the Ghost Clan couldn't have brought 10 star systems here by flying. The speed of stars is less than 1% of light speed. Flying from the inner domain to here would take over a billion years. Only the Space Heavenly Sovereign could have the ability to transport the Ghost Clan and the star systems here. After arriving, the Ghost Clan's speed must have greatly decreased, giving Lin Moyu confidence to catch up. Lin Moyu was very patient, tracking for year after year. Finally, after 50 years, Lin Moyu confirmed the Ghost Clan's direction and sped up. In 50 years, he changed direction countless times, using time reversal many times. He found that the Ghost Clan's direction wasn't fixed, each turn seemed purposeful, not random. This indicated they had a mission. 2 more years passed, and finally, a light appeared in the dark void. It was the light of a star, 5 light years away. After so many years, seeing starlight again felt familiar to Lin Moyu. The long-dormant starlight law also became active under the star's illumination. Finally found them. What mission could last over 2 million years? Lin Moyu breathed a sigh of relief, finally finding the Ghost Clan after all these years. The space gate opened, and Lin Moyu crossed 4 light years in an instant, then used the space law to move towards the star. As he got closer, Lin Moyu felt something was wrong. In the initial time reversal, the Ghost Clan had 10 star systems with over 20 stars, each star system having more than 2 stars. Now, only 6 stars remained, meaning only 6 star systems at most. Over the years of battles, the Ghost Clan seemed to have paid a great price. A strange aura surged, and Lin Moyu's soul trembled, the aura of the Sea of Realms. Over the years, Lin Moyu had seen the Ghost Clan fighting strange fish from the Sea of Realms many times during time reversals. The Ghost Clan seemed to be constantly hunting strange fish. This time was no different. The Ghost Clan was fighting strange fish again. Only 6 stars remained, but the Ghost Clan's combat power was undiminished, not much different from the time reversals. As he got closer, Lin Moyu's senses became clearer, detecting the auras of Saint Sovereigns and Half-Step Supremes. He even sensed a more powerful force hidden in the core of the Ghost Clan's star, a force that made even him tremble. Lin Moyu arrived silently, observing the battle. There were about 10,000 strange fish, mostly Bian realm, with some Saint Sovereigns but not many. The strongest strange fish were Half-Step Supremes, not true Supremes. The Ghost Clan's combat power matched the strange fish, and their attacks were extremely strange, causing significant damage to the fish. If the battle continued, the Ghost Clan would win, but with casualties. Lin Moyu's heart moved, and the undying flame erupted. 25 Skeleton Kings appeared in the starry sky. In the next second, the Skeleton Kings charged into the battle, each with Half-Step Supreme combat power, enough to crush the strange fish. Chapter 2319, 2319. Chapter 2319. You are the one we have been waiting for. After the Skeleton Kings appeared, the first reaction of the Ghost Clan's strong members was to be on guard. They quickly regrouped and formed a defensive formation. They didn't know whether the Skeleton Kings were friends or foes, so they could only be cautious. The strange fish seemed to lack intelligence and continued to attack the Ghost Clan. The Skeleton Kings charged into the battlefield, strictly following Lin Moyu's orders, and immediately attacked the group of strange fish, wielding their bone swords. The light of the swords illuminated the starry sky, and the Skeleton Kings simultaneously unleashed their God-slaying sword. Their targets were not just one strange fish each. God-slaying sword targeted 100 Bian realm strange fish. With one strike, nearly a third of the Bian realm strange fish were slain. Flesh flew everywhere, and broken fish bodies were scattered all around. The Skeleton Kings completely overpowered the strange fish group in terms of combat power, repeatedly attacking, shattering the starry sky, and also destroying the strange fish. The God-slaying sword was just an appetizer. The Skeleton Kings plunged into the group of strange fish and began a massacre. The scales of the strange fish couldn't withstand the sharpness of the bone swords and were quickly slain. The strange fish group abandoned their battle with the Ghost Clan and collectively turned to attack the Skeleton Kings. The pressure on the Ghost Clan was greatly reduced, and they slowly retreated, distancing themselves from the battlefield. At this moment, Lin Moyu flew over and called out from afar, "Lin Moyu of the human race." His voice was clear and resounded through the starry sky. It was a soul sound, and Lin Moyu knew they could hear it. Upon hearing the soul sound, the Ghost Clan immediately reacted. Amidst the swirling white mist, a voice emerged, "You have finally arrived." Lin Moyu's heart skipped a beat. They knew I was coming. He immediately thought of the mysterious master, his mind racing. Could the Ghost Clan also be connected to the mysterious master? As his thoughts swirled, Lin Moyu approached the Ghost Clan. Although he had seen the Ghost Clan many times through time reversal, seeing them with his own eyes was different. The Ghost Clan was very special, their entire bodies shrouded in mist, seemingly without physical form, or perhaps their physical forms were hidden within the mist. Even their planets were covered in layers of mist, making it impossible to see the surface. Even during battle, the mist remained, concealing their true forms. They were beings like mist, somewhat resembling the ghosts of legend. Lin Moyu stopped 10,000 kilometers away from the Ghost Clan, maintaining a certain distance. The mist within the Ghost Clan churned continuously. On one of the planets, a powerful aura was rising, as if someone was awakening. Lin Moyu was not in a hurry and waited quietly. After a moment, a mass of white mist flew out from the Ghost Clan, condensing into a human silhouette, and a voice said, "You have finally arrived." Another, "You have finally arrived." Although the words were the same, the tone was very different. The first sentence carried a hint of surprise, while the second had a sense of long-awaited anticipation. Lin Moyu saluted. "Lin Moyu of the human race, greets the senior." The silhouette formed by the Ghost Clan also saluted Lin Moyu. "I am Yuju of the Ghost Clan." Yuju's etiquette was ancient and slightly different from Lin Moyu's, reflecting the customs of ancient times and expressing friendliness. Lin Moyu asked, "Senior, did you know I would come?" Yuju replied, "Our master once said that someone would come to find us." Lin Moyu thought of the mysterious master but wanted to confirm, "May I ask who your master is?" Yu Ju said, "Our master is the sole heavenly sovereign, our creator and only master." Lin Moyu asked again, "How did the sole heavenly sovereign know I would come?" The mist around Yu Ju churned, "I don't know. We just follow the master's orders. If the master said you would come, then you would come." Could it be that the sole heavenly sovereign also made arrangements? Lin Moyu wondered, then asked, "How can you be sure it is me?" Yu Ju replied, 2 million years, human race, saint sovereign. Time, identity, and realm. These three elements were enough to confirm Lin Moyu's identity. Lin Moyu understood why the Saint Talisman Heavenly Sovereign had instructed him to find the Ghost Clan only after reaching the Saint Sovereign realm. Clearly, the Saint Talisman Heavenly Sovereign knew about the Soul Heavenly Sovereign's arrangements. However, Lin Moyu found it strange. The only one who had consistently left behind measures and believed the great world could still be saved was the mysterious master. The Soul Heavenly Sovereign should have also left the great world. Why would he leave behind these measures? If he intended to leave measures, why did he leave himself? The thoughts of the Heavenly Sovereigns seemed complex, and Lin Moyu couldn't figure it out for the moment. As Lin Moyu pondered, Yu Ju spoke again, "We need one more piece of evidence to confirm your identity and ensure you are the one we have been waiting for. Please tell me." The master said that the person who comes will possess the fire of world destruction. The fire of world destruction. The mysterious master. Lin Moyu suddenly understood. It wasn't the sole heavenly sovereign's arrangement, it was ultimately the mysterious master. He speculated that the mysterious master had instructed the sole heavenly sovereign to do these things. Back then, only the mysterious master firmly believed the great world could be saved. This made sense. The other heavenly sovereigns believed the great world was beyond saving and left, leaving only some legacies behind. Only the mysterious master left various measures, hoping to give the great world a chance in the future. Moreover, the other heavenly sovereigns might not have had the ability to ensure their measures would last for millions of years without error. As Lin Moyu pondered, he opened his palm, and a flame ignited in his hand, spreading a unique aura through the starry sky. The fire of world destruction was special, possessing many unique characteristics not found in other flames. It could refine worlds and had a powerful destructive effect on souls. Even a wisp of a heavenly sovereign's soul would be burned to death by it. The fire of world destruction's uniqueness made it almost impossible to counterfeit. Upon seeing the fire of world destruction, Yu Ju was fully convinced of Lin Moyu's identity. "Your identity is confirmed. You are the one we have been waiting for. Please wait while I awaken." Within the Ghost Clan, an even more powerful aura began to rise, and Yu Ju's aura also grew stronger. The An Realm, Saint Sovereign Realm, Half-Step Supreme. In just a few minutes, Yu Ju's aura reached the Half-Step Supreme level, but this was not the end. His aura continued to rise as he continued to awaken. Lin Moyu was not surprised. He had already sensed an extremely powerful presence within the Ghost Clan, one that could even threaten him. Such a presence had to be at least a supreme, and not an ordinary one. Boom! The starry sky shook violently, and Lin Moyu saw a mist-filled rule world. Yu Ju officially stepped into the Supreme Realm, and his aura continued to rise. It wasn't until he surpassed the threshold of a low-level Supreme that his aura slowly stabilized. Yu Ju was a mid-level Supreme, with extremely powerful combat strength. After 2 million years, the Ghost Clan not only survived but also had a Supreme among them. Lin Moyu wondered how they had managed to survive. If they could survive, why couldn't the other heavenly sovereigns? They could have hidden in the great world for millions of years and then tried to find a way to save it. Why did they leave so early and give up? Lin Moyu had many questions. The mist around Yu Ju became denser, almost solid, and his voice grew deeper. "The master ordered us to give this to you." As he spoke, Yu Ju threw out a box, not daring to touch it, pushing it towards Lin Moyu from a distance. The box was covered in flames of the fire of world destruction. Chapter 2320, 2320. Chapter 2320. Unwilling to give up without a fight, Lin Moyu took the box wrapped in the fire of world destruction with his hand. Needless to say, only the mysterious master could have sealed the box with the fire of world destruction. The box was enveloped in the fire of world destruction, making it more secure than ancient talismans. Unless someone possessed the fire of world destruction like Lin Moyu, even a heavenly sovereign would find it extremely difficult to open. Lin Moyu asked, "Is there anything else besides this box?" Ju shook his head. Apart from the box, our existence is solely to prevent the Sea of Realms from damaging the Great World. Beyond that, there is nothing else. Lin Moyu said, in 1,000 years, a world named the Battle Realm will collide with the Great World. Lin Moyu briefly explained the situation of the Battle Realm, emphasizing that there might be peak supremes within it. Ju responded without hesitation, that has nothing to do with us. Our master did not command us to fight the Battle Realm. There was no room for negotiation. The Ghost Clan only followed their master's orders. They were indifferent to the fate of the Great World. To Lin Moyu, they seemed more like puppets, emotionless and devoid of self-will. They would do whatever their master commanded. They had been carrying out a mission for millions of years without stopping. But Lin Moyu couldn't persuade them to return and help the Great World against the Battle Realm. Ju asked in a deep voice, "Do you have any other matters?" Lin Moyu shook his head. His primary reason for seeking out the Ghost Clan was to enlist their help in 1,000 years. There was nothing else. As for probing the secrets of the Ghost Clan, Lin Moyu had no such intentions. Since they refused to help, Lin Moyu couldn't force them. Ju said, "Very well, you may leave." The Ghost Clan clearly did not welcome outsiders. They only obeyed the sole Heavenly Sovereign's commands and were indifferent to other matters. Lin Moyu bowed to Ju, then turned and disappeared into the starry sky. The battle involving the Skeleton Kings had long ended. The Skeleton Kings had slaughtered the group of strange fish. Knowing the true strength of the Ghost Clan, Lin Moyu realized that the strange fish were no match for them. Ju had not intervened, possibly to train his clan members or for deeper reasons. Opening the space gate, Lin Moyu left, traveling 100,000 light-years away, completely bidding farewell to the Ghost Clan. Holding the ancient box, the fire of world destruction illuminated the surrounding void, forming a small circle of light. Although the Ghost Clan refused to help, obtaining the box left by the mysterious master is an unexpected gain. How many contingencies did he leave behind? One after another, they all seem related to him. How many more plans are there? Indeed, there was a significant gap. With many questions in his heart, Lin Moyu pondered the mysterious master, who was enigmatic even to the Heavenly Sovereigns, let alone now. The fire of world destruction continued to boil as Lin Moyu prepared to open the ancient box. A box sealed with the fire of world destruction was more precious than one sealed with ancient talismans. The last time he obtained a similar box was in the Water and Fire realm, which he handed over to the Water and Fire ancestor for safekeeping. It contained the seed of the undying flame, also known as the Source Flame. This time, it was in the outer domain, guarded by the Ghost Clan. He had no idea what it contained. With anticipation, Lin Moyu used the fire of world destruction to refine the box. The fire of world destruction on the box was gradually absorbed by Lin Moyu's own fire of world destruction. With a snap, the box opened, and a powerful aura burst forth. Supreme. The aura startled Lin Moyu. How could there be a Supreme's aura in the box? The box emitted a radiant glow, and within the glow appeared a figure shrouded in flames. The mysterious master. Unexpectedly, the mysterious master had left an imprint here. Unlike ordinary heavenly sovereigns, the mysterious master had more advanced methods. He didn't need to leave behind a soul. An imprint alone was enough to communicate with Lin Moyu. A voice emerged from the flames. "I know you have many questions. I will answer them one by one. Ask whatever you wish." Lin Moyu asked, "What is the Ghost Clan's mission?" The mysterious master replied, "The Ghost Clan has two missions. First, to prevent the Sea of Realms from eroding the Great World. However, they can't completely stop it, only delay it. Without them, the Great World wouldn't have lasted until now. The second mission is to safeguard this box and deliver it to you." With the mysterious master's explanation, Lin Moyu finally understood the cause and effect. After the Black Blood Great World launched the Black Blood Frenzy, the Great World's origin was damaged. The mysterious master had already anticipated that the Heavenly Sovereigns would leave. Once the Heavenly Sovereigns left, they would take more of the Great World's origin, worsening its injuries. At that time, the Great World would lose control over its peripheral areas, and the Sea of Realms would impact these regions. Creatures from the Sea of Realms would invade the Great World. If this situation became too severe, it would further harm the Great World. If it couldn't be stopped, the Great World wouldn't survive for another 2 million years. The reason for choosing the Ghost Clan was their unique nature. When the sole Heavenly Sovereign created the Ghost Clan, he used materials not from the Great World but from the Sea of Realms, making them very special. They had the ability to hibernate, during which their lifespan slowed significantly. Additionally, the strange fish from the Sea of Realms could enhance their realm and stabilize their strength. This allowed the Ghost Clan to produce more powerful members, and during hibernation, time passed even more slowly. Because of this, the mysterious master had the sole Heavenly Sovereign place the Ghost Clan in the outer domain. Originally, the sole Heavenly Sovereign intended to take the Ghost Clan with him, but due to the mysterious master, he had to comply. After hearing the mysterious master's explanation, Lin Moyu realized that although his guesses were slightly off, they were largely accurate. Lin Moyu continued to ask, the Celestial Spirit Clan and the Ghost Clan were both created by the sole Heavenly Sovereign. What about the Demon God Clan? The mysterious master replied, the Demon God Clan perished long ago. To the sole Heavenly Sovereign, the Demon God Clan was a failed creation. Although they were powerful, their lifespan was too short. The Celestial Spirit Clan was better than the Demon God Clan, at least without the lifespan issue, but their combat power was insufficient. However, the sole Heavenly Sovereign seemed to value the Celestial Spirit Clan highly. The Ghost Clan can be considered the sole Heavenly Sovereign's most perfect creation, with strong combat power, a lifespan comparable to ours, and the ability to hibernate. They played a significant role back then. In addition, there is the Fish Clan, created by the Space Heavenly Sovereign. However, the Space Heavenly Sovereign was not skilled at creating beings, so the Fish Clan had many flaws. Nevertheless, they possessed spatial laws and played a role back then. Lin Moyu asked, what about Munanur? The mysterious master replied, she was left behind by me. Unfortunately, there is only one soul city. If there were more, today's crisis could have been avoided. Do you truly believe the great world can be saved? The great path always holds a glimmer of hope. No matter how desperate the situation, there is always hope. I don't know if the great world can ultimately be saved, but I can only say this, without trying, I will never be content.